Hello, my name is HQ of HQ Reacts. Welcome to my channel. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button, share the stream, and click the notification button for new content.
Hello, everybody. This is one of those late Saturday night streams where I wanted someone to call in and ask about the victim mentality. But who knows? Maybe we'll just have a conversation about this victim mentality, right? And I had to figure out, what is victim mentality? What exactly does that mean? I guess in simple terms, victim mentality is the mindset in which a lot of people, I guess, view themselves as the victim of circumstances, uh, of other people, of life in general, even when the evidence is just that they could have acted differently and they could have got a different outcome. Because I've heard that a lot on these panels, right? I've heard that the Democrats are always wanting to be victims of stuff. And I said, why is it that every time we have a conversation with a Republican, they're saying, why do you stay in the Democratic fold? And then that you have that victim mentality that they always have. And it's because, I believe it's because they think we have some kind of grievance. We emphasize grievance. We emphasize systematic oppression, or being wrong, or you're always the victim. You're always trying to get sympathy. There it is. Always trying to get sympathy. Okay. It's 7, it's not late. So I was trying to figure out, what does that mean by always trying to get sympathy or empathy? Okay. And then I had to come up with a reason why, because nobody came up with a reason why. Nobody told me the reason why. And I just had to guess for myself. This is why Charlie Kirk was always saying, we need to get rid of the word empathy. Get rid of the word empathy. Because people use empathy as a way in which they gauge how to interact with other people if they have the empathy gene. And we have found that a lot of Republicans don't seem to have that empathy, because you will hear them say, no, get that person out of my country. No, we don't want to give them health care. No, we don't want to give them food stamps. No, we don't X, Y, and Z. Okay? And there's strong arguments for that, and I get it. I do. But the problem is, we emphasize the hand up or the leg up. We emphasize giving people a leg up, a helping hand. We focus on opportunity and support, right? We focus on recognizing that there are barriers for some people, and some other people there may not be barriers. And then we understand there's coalitions for support and community uplift. We understand all that, and then there's nuances and caveats, right? So this is what we mean, or this is what I think people mean. Hello, sir. It's not a sir. You see a female on there. So this is what I think Republicans think when we say victim mentality. Okay? What they think it means, they think it limits our growth. Okay? If you always see yourself as a powerless or a victim, you're less likely to try. So they assume that most Democrats don't try. We're less likely to take responsibility, less likely to engage in change. That's not true. We are the most changing and shifting demographic on the political scene. People say, well, it might harm your relationships, these victim mentalities. constantly blaming people, defensiveness, or why me attitude can lead to frustration, friction, isolation. I get all that too. And it affects mental health. And I was like, what? What? And it often starts with laziness and self-pity. Self-pity. I said, what? These are the things that some Republicans told me. Laziness and self-pity. This is what we get from the Democratic Party. Laziness and self-pity. Okay? This is why they think we have a victim mentality. Some of the reasons. We need to focus on identity, or we always focus on identity and oppression. We never focus on the good things. We always emphasize group identity. Oh, you got to do it as a group. Historical or systematic injustice. We've been wrong, rather than emphasizing what individual community can do to change their circumstances. Okay? Always the victimhood. You're always blaming somebody on the outside. It's always external. Always external. Democrats are always attributing their problems to external forces, I guess. Corporations, systematic racism, patriarchy, monarchy, inequality, whatever, rather than focus on the individual agency or the choices. And I just don't see that in the Democratic Party as I think they use the victim mentality to try to embarrass. They tried to embarrass, or they wanted to embarrass the Democrats, because we always were the party of helping people. We always felt like we were the party of helping the downtrodden or the poor. So it was a way to make us feel guilty. I believe that was the reason why. It was a reason to make us feel guilty. Okay. Another reason Republicans thought we had this victim mentality is, we always used it as some kind of way to help, in which the government can help us in some way. Being a victim is the key Democratic strategy because it knows how to divide our country. Somebody told me that. From this view, victim mentality isn't just a mindset, but a political framework. Wow. So now we use it as a tool, as a bludgeon. And as I said, I figured out what the Charlie Kirk was talking about. Charlie Kirk used empathy along with the victim mentality. Okay. Does empathy go along with victim mentality? It's related, but they're not the same thing. Okay. Sometimes it can move in opposite directions, right? Empathy is cognitive empathy, emotional empathy, compassionate or empathic empathy. People have different types of empathy. Victim mentality is a pattern of thinking and behavior where a person constantly sees themselves as victimized, powerless, at the mercy of external circumstances, blaming other people. And this is why they keep saying, okay, you Democrats need to get yourself some business, because you guys are always helping people, always being sympathetic to the poor man, always asking for handouts, never doing anything on your own, never wanting to do your own work, pull yourself by your bootstraps. Sometimes people don't have bootstraps. Sometimes people don't have bootstraps. It is what it is. Damn it. I'm not playing the sound because I always play the sound and I always get in trouble.
Republican and Democrats is that are victors, okay? Feminists, the biggest victims. BLM, victims. Liberal white folks, victims, okay? When I used to be a Democrat, I used to be a victim and blamed the government and everybody else for my downfall. Now, I'm the producer and director.
Oh shit, sorry guys.
The Democratic Party has victimized the black community to the point that other communities don't like us. When we walk around with this victim mentality, and I'm sick of this shit, like I'm so sick of this. Like, I'm so sick of this. Stop blaming the white man. At some point in reality, we have to come to terms with it and say, we are the architect of our own demise. And once we learn that, we can rebuild and start rebuilding this structure. But what's happening is We got a whole culture. Everybody want to be victim, blaming everybody but ourselves. Think about this. All these people been voting Democrat for all these years, but why none of these problems change? If they're the see-all, be-all in democracy, they was in power for 12 years. They had 2 terms with Obama, a term with Biden. Think about that. Nothing changed. Y'all still fighting for democracy. And mind you, the Democrats damn near at one point had 2/3 of power. But what they do is they find a base and they'll just victimize. They victimize the black community so bad that people look at us like babies. Like, why are y'all doing this to us? And why are we still even voting that way? At some point, we have to be accountable. All I can see right now, it's 2 different groups of black people. You have the victims, and they use that so they don't have to go out and achieve shit. So it's easy to say the white man is holding you back when you don't want to go out and achieve nothing, because now you have the excuse to say why you're not achieving. But reality, that's a social construct. That's your mental construct that you put in front of you as a barrier. That's what you did for yourself. In all reality, then on the other hand, you got this other group of people that's accountable and saying nobody's holding us back. We can go out and achieve anything we want to do as long as we're working hard and being productive people in society. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with being accountable. It's nothing wrong with not being a victim. It's so many things wrong with running around with a victim mentality and keep screaming white superiority. Because what that does is, and you keep saying that, white superiority, you know what happens with that is basically you're stating that somebody's above you. That's what those victims do. But when you're accountable and you're not a victim and you stand on your own too, and you say, you know what, it's not the world, it's my decision making. Let me change the way I think. Let me change my behavior, my attitude. Sometimes you got to change your environment. And when you do that, and then you realize, oh, it's me. Maybe I was the problem. And then once you start being accountable for that, then your world changes around you. We got to get out of this. I'm just sick of the narrative that they keep painting, that as if we're victims. We're not victims. I know I'm not. And a lot of people that I follow and I like their content, they're not victims. These are accountable black men that actually stand on something. And if you like, subscribe, share, you already know what it is. It's the interpretation. I'm out.
Black Democrats, they are just narcissists. And I'm really, really starting to just actually put a term on that, because they cannot help if somebody else steals a spotlight of actually being a victim, like Charlie Kirk. No, they have to steer their spotlight back on them by any means necessary, even if they have to lie and make up stuff. And I see it all in my comment section that they're still trying to justify the actions of those young adults at that university by saying, well, it's because of the HBCU threats. You know, your follow-up game is so weak, because if you followed up on things, research it out all the way, ask questions about it, instead of moving on to the next grift or scam, you will find out that the investigators stated that it was no information to indicate a credible threat. They couldn't even produce a shred of evidence. I'm talking about the universities. Could not produce a shred of evidence to prove that it was a threat. They even declined, the HBCUs even declined to confirm that letter that somehow was circulating around on social media was authentic. That's what the findings. And then you just don't hear nothing else about it. This also goes for the same thing with the plantation text after the election. You don't hear nothing else about it. And what became of the independent autopsy of Trey Reed? You don't hear nothing else about it. In fact, they already having a funeral. But nonetheless, even after I tell y'all all of this information, you still in your mind believe that MAGA or white people or me, that is black conservatives, are doing something to you. You're still trying to portray yourself as a freaking victim, and people are getting tired. We're tired of that. You've been screaming this and tearing up the streets and rioting and looting and protesting and blah, blah, blah for over a decade now. So now that you continuously cry wolf, nobody is going to believe anything, even if something happens for real, because you've been screaming it for so long. You have allowed the Democrat Party to use your emotional instability every single time they say the words white supremacy or racism, and they slap that on some kind of event, even if the event could have been created by them. I'm just saying.
I say that the victim mindset is the main thing that's holding people back in life. People will ask me, well, what do you mean by having a victim mindset? Let me give you an example. This is Nick Vujicic. He is an Australian-American motivational speaker that was born without arms and without legs. He's encouraged and inspired millions of people around the world. When I tell somebody with a victim mindset about Nick and what he's been able to accomplish, they will say, damn dude, if only I was born without legs and without arms, I would be such a motivational character. You've got to be kidding me, bro. Hey bro, we can get rid of your arms and your legs right now if you want to, if that's what you think it's gonna take in order for you to become a motivational, inspirational person. Do you see the level of delusion that these people operate in? They refuse to understand that every single person has a massive propensity to be a motivational and inspirational person, no matter the situation that they were born into. In fact, many of the people that are born without use that deficit in order to make a much more inspirational story. Your story and your situation can be the eagle that carries you through the sky, or it can be the millstone wrapped around your neck, dragging you to the depths.
It's gonna sound crazy. There's only one side constantly trying to make me feel bad about being a black woman. I'm gonna be honest, I was never really a Democrat anyways. I just like Bernie Sanders. And don't get me started on the true history of the Democratic Party. It was never on the right side. It was never on the right side. At the end of the day, I refuse to be told to feel like a victim and to believe manipulation over facts. I know how to do research. They're not even trying. I always used to say I'm a progressive Republican. I might as well just do it.
Hey, you. That's right, you. Wouldn't you like to know the story of you? What makes you, you? DNA and Me is a genetic service that can help you find out exactly who your ancestors were. You might be surprised.
I thought I was just a standard white guy, but DNA and Me showed that I'm actually 4.2% Cherokee Indian.
Turns out I'm not totally white. I'm also part Northern Asian and even some Kurdish. I'm a victim of oppression.
The test is easy. Simply swab the inside of your mouth and send it into our labs.
People made fun of me for being French. DNA and Me showed I was 8% Navajo. Nobody's making fun of me now, or my people, who were victims.
I'm 13% victim.
I'm 21% victim.
Order now and find out if your friends should be more sympathetic towards you. DNA and Me. Are you in? Hell f***ing yes, I'm in.
What is a victim mentality and how does it lead to conflict? Well, the term victim mentality refers to a pattern of thinking in which the thinker perceives themselves as a perpetual victim of circumstances. So their behavior is characterized by external blame, a sense of powerlessness, resistance to change, and sometimes negative self-perception. At the end of the day, these individuals feel that no matter what they do, some external force dictates their experience and is responsible for their shortcoming. It's a mentality that says, I can't change what happened, so why try? The system or circumstance has set me up to fail. But here's the thing. We're all subject to some external force or circumstance beyond our control that could contribute to hardship in our life. So the real question might be, why do some people give more credence to these factors than others? Some people defy insurmountable odds to find success without complaint, while others face minimal challenges in comparison but are overcome by the odds against them. So why is it that some people are overcome by their circumstances while others overcome their circumstances? Well, one way to explain it could be the cognitive appraisal theory, which suggests that our interpretation of events influences our emotional responses to them and our ability to cope. It's a combination of our resilience, personality traits, our social support systems, our lived experiences, our conditioning, self-efficacy, our subjective norms, our perceived behavioral controls, and so many other things. It's purely subjective. And look, merely recognizing that these forces exist is not in and of itself a victim mentality. It's only once we resign ourselves to these circumstances that we adopt the mindset. Personal resilience takes time, and positive psychology takes work, but it's worth it because we give away our control when we sit around all day and ruminate about circumstances beyond our control. The challenge.
But I don't think Democrats do that. We don't do that. We don't sit around and bitch about our circumstances or what we do or we don't have. We never think of that particular scenario. I don't understand. Somebody has to explain to me, what do you mean by victim mentality? And it's like the first thing they say is, you guys always want handouts. What do you mean we always want handouts? That makes no sense.
Is that we have to be intentional about challenging negative thoughts, adopting a growth mindset, and developing our problem-solving skills. So for anyone stuck in a victim mentality, just know that your feelings are both real and valid, but so are your opportunities to heal and move past them.
That phrase, victim mentality, gets weaponized real quick by people trying to dismiss real pain. It flips the script, making the person calling out injustice seem weak, dramatic, or irrational, while letting the system and those who benefit from it off the hook. It's a gaslighting move. When someone talks about racism,
Sorry. You have victims on every side of the spectrum.
sexism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, or any other structural oppression, they're not playing the victim. They're identifying harm. They're describing patterns. They're pointing out how the world's been arranged to disadvantage them and advantage others. This is how it sounds. Hey, I have a knife in my back, and that sucks. I want that knife to be taken out. You gotta get over that victim mentality, and there was never a knife in the first place. What are you even talking about? You see, calling that a victim mentality is a way to shut down the conversation. It says, your experience makes me feel uncomfortable, so I'm going to reframe it as your personal problem. But acknowledging injustice isn't victimhood. It's truth-telling. It's survival. It's resistance. And a lot of people accused of having a victim mentality are the ones doing the most to change the systems. And look, if you want to talk behavior science, let's talk. What some people call a victim mentality is really just misunderstood learned helplessness, a well-documented phenomenon in applied behavior analysis and psychology. When someone is exposed to repeated punishment or failure with no control, they may stop trying, not because they're weak, but because the environment taught them that their effort doesn't matter. This is not a mindset issue, that's a systems issue. If you're serious about change, fix the conditions, don't blame the learner. I'm Jared, a PhD candidate at Penn State, black and here to educate. And if you talk about somebody having a victim mentality in the comments of them trying to address oppression or injustice, then you're probably a terrible person.
I don't have white guilt. I'm not responsible for slavery. I grew up poor too. What about the white slaves? That has nothing to do with me anymore. What color owns most of the corporations? What color has most of the wealth in the Western world? What color has created addictive pharmaceuticals? What color is poisoning our food and deregulating safety measures? What color is dismantling environmental protection? What color is taxing you? What color is outsourcing their labor to other colors in other places? What color is upholding Christian nationalism? What color had the largest empire in human history? What color writes most of our laws? What color makes up the largest amount of welfare recipients? That one may surprise you. I could go on, but my point is, even though most white people are not the most powerful people in the world, all of the most powerful people in the world are white people. So obviously this points to being a class issue, not just a race issue. Race is just a proxy for class. The rich white man has pitted the poor white man against every other color of man and woman. And until the poor white people understand that, we're going to be stuck where we are now, and it's going to get worse.
If you're living and breathing, you literally have everything that you need to be successful. This victim mindset and mentality that everybody seems to have nowadays is actually disturbing. If you keep on coming up with excuses of why you can't succeed or why you can't do something, yeah, of course you're never gonna do it. You are telling yourself that you are unable to do something. It's time to be delusional. If something as crazy as Bluetooth and Wi-Fi can exist, why can't you be successful? Those things are literally intangible, and yet somebody managed to create them. If you are unhappy with where you're at in life, do something about it. It's time to stop bitching and complaining every chance you get and get up and do something. Never in my life would I think that saying lead a horse to water but you can't make it drink would be so prevalent. Sure, there are some people that have just bad luck at every turn, but if you are playing the victim card, or you are truly convinced you are a victim at every single turn and every single circumstance, you need to do some self-reflection. Nobody is always a victim. People make mistakes. We all do. But you know what mistakes are good for? Learning. If you are not learning from your mistakes, you are doomed to repeat the same cycle over and over again, and you are going to continue to have a shitty life. If you're perfectly happy and content in your life, do nothing. If there's anything about your life that you are somewhat unhappy with, change it. If you're overweight, go to the gym. I used to complain constantly that I wasn't happy with my body. That entire time I was complaining, guess what I wasn't doing? Working out. If you are unhappy with your body, do something about it. Go to the gym. That's what I started to do, and now I'm actually confident in myself for once. You are perpetuating the definition of insanity by doing nothing.
I had to
files released but won't release them. He's focused.
Hold on.
He wants the files released but won't release them. He's focused on affordability by building a $300 million ballroom. He deserves a Nobel Peace Prize but threatens war with Venezuela. He'll bring down prices on day one, but beef prices are at record highs. He's America first, but has a $40 billion bailout for Argentina. He's for the working class, but giving tax cuts to billionaires. He has a terrific healthcare plan, but won't tell us what it is. He's protecting federal buildings, but tore down the east wing of the White House. He's cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, but added $2 trillion to the national debt this year. He wants men out of women's locker rooms, but walked into a teenage beauty pageant's dressing room. He's closing down the border, but opening it up for white South Africans. He's a Christian, but never goes to church. He's a businessman, but always goes bankrupt. He loves the military, but dodged the draft. He wants law and order, but he's a convicted criminal. He backs the blue, but not at the U.S. Capitol. He does all this, and you, my American friends, still support him. After 30,000 lies, 6 bankruptcies, 5 draft deferments, 4 indictments, 3 wives, 2 impeachments, and 1 insurrection. After COVID, tariffs, ICE raids, government shutdowns, bribes, corruption, pardons, selective prosecutions, illegal drug boat strikes, unconstitutional executive orders, and months of chaos. Because at this point, my dear Americans, submissive fellow journalists, spineless members of Congress, corrupt business leaders, cowardly university presidents, enabling law firms, out-of-touch rappers, and anyone else who normalizes this shit show, he's not the problem. You are.
In total bullshit. If you haven't heard of this, buckle up because we're about to go on a whole ass rant. So if you've never heard of victim mindset, it's basically this idea that you think of yourself as a victim to your circumstances or to the choices of others. You are not someone with agency or control over your own life. You think of yourself as other people have the control and stuff just happens to you. People like to tout this idea of victim mindset as like, once you stop thinking of yourself this way and you start thinking of yourself as having agency, then you can heal from all of this stuff. Which sounds amazing, which sounds great until you think about it for exactly 0.2 seconds and realize that sometimes this isn't how it works. Sometimes you actually are a victim. Sometimes people do things to you that are 100% outside of your control. And pretending that that's not the case is gaslighting, and it's bullshit, and the entire idea of victim mindset is really harmful to trauma survivors. This has been a rant. You're welcome.
You ever asked yourself why it seems like conservatives have such a huge problem understanding the thoughts, feelings, and perspectives of other people, why does it seem like they are so less empathetic than liberals or people on the left? Part of that explanation is going to come through what they value. There's 4 core values that a conservative has. That's going to be hierarchy, religion, individualism, and personal responsibility. Personal responsibility is the one that's leading mostly to the empathy gap. Their understanding and use for personal responsibility is much different than the way you or I probably use it. They overemphasize the power of personal responsibility to describe why a person is in the situation that they're in. And this impulse to emphasize personal responsibility over outside factors in consideration of anything else which may have affected that person is the exact dynamic which leads to victim blaming. So there's no need to ever change our housing system, because it's not the housing system that's the problem. It's the lazy individual who's the problem, who became homeless. There's no need to critique, reform, or abolish capitalism, because capitalism isn't the problem for why a lot of people are in poverty. They're in poverty because they just don't work hard enough. There's no sense of urgency to reform militarized police in this country because the police aren't the problem. If people just listen to orders from the cops, then there would be nobody getting their ass beat. And the conservative thinks I don't get my ass beat because I listen to orders when I'm given. But of course, ironically, none of this avoidance to critique or reform a system or even abolish it is going to play out at all when it's their life that is personally affected by the problem.
As a former black conservative Republican, here's why I walked away from conservatism and never looked back. So this is a series that was highly requested based off my past 2 videos, and this series is going to be called the Black Conservative Playbook, where I'm going to go into the mind of a former black conservative so I can give insight to not necessarily trying to disprove narratives, because I think, again, most of these things are nonsense. No, all of them are nonsense in the grand scheme of things, but I think a lot of America is a bit out of touch as to how black, but even particularly just also young men, fall into right-wing ideology. So I'm going to give you the perspective of somebody who is in the rabbit hole. So if you just give me a few minutes of your time for this first part, I think there's a lot that you can learn from this. And just to dispel some myths before people start rambling it off, but people might do it anyway. This had nothing to do with me dating a white woman and her turning me conservative. That has no reason, no bearing. I was not like the black awkward kid who was rejected by black kids. Like, I wasn't like considered that way. I wasn't a social reject of any kind. I wasn't lonely. I was actually pretty popular in high school. I literally won homecoming king. I don't say this to brag, but I think if you group every like young conservative into like that box of the social reject who turned to right-wing ideology, while that does apply to some, I think it kind of misses the core point. So let's get into the first part. The victim mentality. Black conservatism, particularly even younger black conservatism, all revolves around the idea of the victim mentality. Now, I don't need to get into why it's dumb or wrong, but what I can get into is to why and how it's so appealing to not just particularly black conservatives, but particularly, actually, let's stick with black conservatives real quick. Where this comes down to is just a simple lack of understanding that 2 things can be true at once. Is it possible that you do not want to be victimized because of something like your race, your ethnicity, or anything of the kind? That is possible, but it's also possible to acknowledge that there is systemic injustice. Those 2 do not have to be like opposite sides of the spectrum. It is possible that you can say, all right, there are challenges that face people of my skin complexion, but at the same time, I'm not going to let that deter me. But the problem is, what's really, really sinister about right-wing ideology, particularly for young men, is it creeps into things like fitness, sports, gaming, where if you think about those things at the core, it's a very grind-oriented culture where you kind of get in the work you put in. Like, the work you put in is the reward that you get most of the time, right? So when those things are very, very, very corrupt with right-wing ideology, that's how you get the whole, I'm not a victim, I'm not a victim, I'm not a victim. The last 2 things I will touch on are survivorship bias and anecdotal evidence. Let's actually check on the anecdotal evidence real quick, because that's the quickest one. There's people in my comments of my original video where this even started from who will say, well, I never experienced racism. In fact, the most racism I ever experienced was from other black people. And so clearly I don't think it's that big of a deal because it never happened to me, which is, you're an individual. You cannot in the same token say, oh, I hate that, like,
black people will hate on me for being conservative because I'm like, because I don't want this group think. But then you're using yourself as an individual to speak for the entire group. Do you see the hypocrisy? The other issue is survivorship bias, where you'll take, like, let's say Dr. Ben Carson, right, who came from a very, very poor and rough situation, grew up and did a lot of great things within the medical field, not so great in the political field though. And he'll use that story as a way to be like, if I can do it, then no black person has an excuse. Where it's like, the reason why it's an exceptional story is because it's the exception to the rule. But why this is so effective is because, again, especially for young, impressionable teenagers, right? At the time, we're not really capable of really having beyond surface level thinking. Because if you think about these things on the surface, these things sound right. It's like, I guess if I work hard and if I just don't like pay too much mind to like anything like systemic and all this, then I can overcome it. Basically, what it comes down to is that the basic core message is very flawed, but the surface level messaging of just ignore your problems and you can overcome them, it appeals to a lot of young men, because a lot of young men in particular are told to bottle these emotions in and to not like feel bad about it. But at the end of the day, if you ever want to really like just kind of like stumble a black conservative on this whole victim mentality thing, which again, like, this was kind of my moment where I kind of realized this, which is, ask them this question. If it's true that, okay, like any type of issue that a black person faces from not being able to change their situation is just because of a victim mentality and it's all of a culture thing, what does that then say about black people? Because what are you implying? Are you implying that black people inherently have a disposition to be in these type of situations? And then they'll tell you like, oh, well, that's not necessarily it, but that is what you're saying. Because if we're going to ignore the massive amounts of history and data that show the bias and the systematic injustices that face black people, and you're just saying it's a victim mentality, it's just something you got to mentally figure out, again, if it's affecting a good amount of the black population, you're then drawing it back to just inherently being predisposed to that. And with that, that concludes part 1 of the Black Conservative Playbook. Be tuned for part 2.
So, you know, when it comes out that a domestic violence victim did something bad, that it doesn't completely negate their experience, right? Because there's no such thing as the perfect victim. And we saw this a lot with the reinventing Elizabeth situation, her ex-husband coming out that, oh, she did all these things as a way to discredit her story. So what's the perfect victim myth? The ideal victim.
We're not saying that some people don't portray themselves as victims. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that it's too many of us out here for it to not be a thing. People keep saying, don't be a victim. But there's plenty of people on both sides that are victim, and you don't know you're a victim, and sometimes being a victim doesn't hold you back. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like there's a lot of people who live in it, but it's not a lot of people who live in it, because we got to function in this world. We can't just be in a victim mentality all the time.
Myth, or the perfect victim myth, is the victim that essentially garners the most sympathy from society. People have crafted a narrative that those that have survived domestic violence must have met a specific level of moral purity for them to be worthy of compassion. And especially for women, there are 2 archetypes. That's deeply rooted in misogyny and like the Madonna whore complex at an extreme level. And that's the saintly, suffering victim that's meek, or the sinful temptress woman. But the moment someone doesn't fit our very narrow definition of what a victim is supposed to look like, we start to doubt their experience. And worse yet, we begin to blame them for the abuse. Clearly, they're just unreasonable and awful, and the other person had to abuse them. Or that they were both mutually abusive, which is absolutely not even a thing. Also,
Hold on. Our other half of our program, right? People said something to me earlier today, and I meant to do a segment on this person, on Miss Jasmine Crockett. I meant to do a segment on Miss Jasmine Crockett because she gets a lot of hate, and I don't understand why this young lady gets so much hate, as much hate as she gets.
was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people?
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein. Just so that people understand, when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies.
Is she actually serious right now? Is this the explanation that Jasmine Crockett is going with for her absolute failure on the floor of the House? Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Sean. And for those of you who are unaware, we've had massive updates in the Jeffrey Epstein case as of late. And among those updates was a drop of a whole bunch of emails from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. And included in those emails were messages from Jeffrey Epstein to the delegate from the U.S. Virgin Islands that was actually using questions from Epstein in real time during a House hearing. Now, this caused a bunch of people in the House of Representatives to try to censure this representative. And in response to that, Jasmine Crockett went onto the House floor and made the case that a bunch of Republicans, including Lee Zeldin, received donations from Jeffrey Epstein, and they should really think twice about going after this representative who was obviously in direct communication with Jeffrey, because they took money from him. The only
This is the standard that we're going to make. Just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review.
Now we've got Jasmine Crockett. And here she is. And again, all of this is going to turn on them. And it actually, in this case, it happened real time. Watch the video first, and then the follow-up is fantastic.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly: Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, okay, honey, I can talk like that too.
She has to be the silliest person on planet Earth. And if you heard that, and if you missed that, you the problem. Roll the clip.
Lee Zeldin, who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his.
see. All right. Will the Republicans do anything about Trump? They have been trying to censor people all week. Child, listen. I think we're at a record for censors. I really do. Like, you don't, I mean, y'all, somebody on the internet, y'all can go Google this and figure it out. But I don't know that we've ever had 3 censor motions in 1 week. We usually don't have 3 in a year. Like, it was very rare. Yeah. And that's where we are. Do I think that the Republicans are going to do anything about him? It just depends. I think the more that they see the writing on the walls, as we go through these special elections, as we look at the numbers, I think November 4th was a wake-up call. I think that's one of the reasons that some of them are like, maybe not so much, because baby, he on his way out, whether he like it or not. You get 2 terms maximum as president in these United States, okay? And some of them want to stick around for a while. Some of them want to have political careers. And it's going to crash and burn if your only answer is to do whatever Donald Trump told you to do. It is. That's not sustainable. Like, whatsoever. And I think some people are waking up to that. But I think, the more that people show up to their town halls, the more that we show up at all these other elections and overperform, I think the more likely it is that we start to see some movement. From TikTok, when will the Epstein files come out? Okay, so y'all know I don't trust Pam, right? Y'all know I don't trust her, right? So I'm gonna just say this $1 million question. I will tell you that according to the bill that was filed and signed into law, they are supposed to release it within 30 days. I just want to remind y'all that oversight has had outstanding subpoenas to the DOJ, and thanks to the Epstein estate, we getting stuff. That's all I gotta say. So, and Pam was she was stuttering the other day at a press conference. I think it was yesterday. She was like, right. So I fully anticipate she's going to say we've got ongoing investigations, even though she had previously announced that there was nothing to investigate. But now she's like, well, we've got new information from the estate. And it's like, well, girl, if y'all were doing your jobs and you were doing the investigatory work, then y'all would have had this too, right? Or am I wrong? Maybe Pam don't know nothing about trying cases. Again, she about to lose that Comey case. Hell, they lost the sandwich case, y'all. They lost the sandwich assault case. The fact that they brought a sandwich assault case is just okay.
And thank you for calling this hearing. Since January, Donald Trump has used the full power of the federal government to attack Americans in cities across the country. In Donald Trump's America, you are at increased risk of experiencing militaristic operations in your home, increased risk of being subject to detainment by mass thugs and wannabe vigilantes, increased risk of suffering injuries due to reckless and illegal acts by rogue federal agents, increased risk of being deported to foreign nations, even if you are an American citizen, and you're at an increased risk of being targeted by federal government for criticizing the president and his friends. Congressional Republicans have completely abandoned their Article 1 powers and have exchanged their responsibility to their constituents with fealty to the president. They have allowed the president to morph federal agencies into instruments of autocracy. And as a result, the president has been able to ignore federal law, disregard court orders, and implement the largest pay-for-play scheme in American history. The White House, well, what's left of it anyway, is literally up for sale. The federal courts have characterized this presidency as, quote, lawless. In fact, when ruling against illegal acts committed by the administration, a Republican-appointed federal judge stated, quote, the court cannot imagine how the public interest might be served by permitting federal officials to flaunt the very laws they have sworn to enforce. In a separate case where the administration was sued for unlawful acts, the judge, also a Republican appointee, stated, quote, allowing constitutional rights to be dependent upon the grace of the executive branch would be a dereliction of duty by this third and independent branch of government and would be against the public interest. But in another case, the court summed it up perfectly by declaring, quote, as is becoming far too common, we are confronted again with the efforts of the executive branch to set aside the rule of law in pursuit of its own goals. Judiciary Committee Republicans have been completely complicit in this corruption. But since they're so interested in restoring law and order, I have a couple of suggestions on where they can start. Number one, this is the president of the United States standing beside his best friend, Jeffrey Epstein. As we all know, Mr. Epstein is one of the most notorious sexual predators in American history. For 8 weeks, the Republicans on this committee have chosen to protect these two men instead of providing justice to Mr. Epstein's victims. Now the administration is panicking. First, they campaigned on releasing the Epstein files. Then AG Bondi and associates did a photo op with the files. And she said, and I quote, the Epstein list is on my desk. Then somehow the Epstein list didn't exist. Then the Epstein files became a Democratic hoax. Now the president is supposedly supportive of releasing the files, even though he's currently ignoring a congressional subpoena to do so. Now the president is simply crashing out. And it's because he can't seem to explain his special decades-long relationship with one of the most prominent sexual predators in American history. It's already public that he's in the Epstein files, but his administration is hiding the context of his involvement, if any, with Mr. Epstein's horrific crimes. Now, this is Miss Ghislaine Maxwell. Miss Maxwell, who obviously helped Jeffrey Epstein traffic more than 1,000 women and girls, well, Donald Trump is now giving her special treatment while she's serving out her prison sentence. He won't even rule out giving her a pardon or commuting her sentence. I don't need to explain why pardoning sex traffickers wouldn't be restoring law and order. Now, this is Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. Not only has Secretary Noem been busy filming propaganda ads, she's also been busy cashing in on millions of taxpayer dollars. In fact, Secretary Noem has funneled millions of dollars to a company called the Strategy Group. The Strategy Group helped Secretary Noem win her campaign to become the governor of South Dakota. Corey Lewandowski, her top policy advisor, has worked with the firm. And the company's CEO is married to Secretary Noem's chief spokesperson, Mrs. Tricia McLaughlin. This is what corruption looks like. They're stealing money from the American people's pockets and depositing it into their bank accounts. Now we move on to yet somebody else. This is the so-called border czar, Tom Homan. Mr. Homan is on tape accepting $50,000 in cash bribes stuffed in a brown paper bag from an undercover FBI agent. Apparently, Mr. Homan accepted these bribes in exchange for awarding federal contracts to his friends. Trump's Department of Justice killed the investigation into Mr. Homan's crimes, and congressional Republicans didn't say a mumbling word. Lastly, this is insurrectionist and Nazi sympathizer Ed Martin. It appears that Mr. Martin is functioning as the Associate Deputy Attorney General, Pardon Attorney, Director of the Fake Weaponization Working Group, and Special Attorney for Mortgage Fraud. All that means is that Mr. Martin is Trump's lapdog, whom the president sends to initiate lawsuits against the president's perceived political opponents. This is what we call organized crime. They're breaking the law, often by stealing taxpayer dollars, covering up their crimes by ending and obstructing investigations, then prosecuting people who call out their unlawful behavior. And while the Republicans are encouraging this corruption, they're abandoning actual victims of violent crime and ignoring the Republican-led state's 21st century murder crisis. In September's appropriation markup, congressional Republicans proposed reducing the FBI staff by thousands of positions and underfunding the agency by more than $1 billion. They've proposed slashing resources from the ATF. They've proposed cutting grants for juvenile justice programs and hate crimes and eliminating the community violence intervention and prevention grants. They're literally defunding the police. So no matter what they say at today's hearing, congressional Republicans have proven that they are not investing in keeping American communities safe from violent crime. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Reveals white supremacists are threatening her and coming to her office. Put it up for a mass. Courtesy of the commander-in-chief. By the way, on Thursday, an individual reportedly appeared at Representative Jasmine Crockett's office making, quote, white supremacist threats and hand gestures. Let's call those gang signs. Here's Crockett's statement, quote, today, an individual showed up to my office, my DC office, and made white supremacist threats and hand gestures. Everyone is safe. And I want to thank Capitol Police for their swift response. But let me be crystal clear. This cannot become the norm. We're living in a time where political violence is being fueled from the very top. When the President of the United States spreads hate and lies, and then he targets his political opponents when he openly calls for the death of sitting members of Congress. He is putting a literal target on our backs. The president should be committed to unity, not more division. She goes on to say, quote, some folks have questioned why I need security. This is why. Every time I speak truth, stand up for my constituents, or call out corruption, the threats get louder and more dangerous. I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. I will continue to show up for the people of Texas' 30th Congressional District. But we cannot pretend that this is normal. When leaders promote hate, hate shows up sometimes right at our door. So Crockett's statement comes shortly after Donald Trump said nearly half a dozen Democratic lawmakers should be punished by death. He called it seditious behavior on social media in response to a video that encourages the military to follow the law. And by encouraging the military to follow the law, these Democrats reminded them that they have a duty, an obligation, not a choice, not an option, not a consideration, but a duty and obligation to refuse illegal orders. That's it. Sometimes people have to be reminded of the law, especially when you have a lawless individual in charge of the outfit.
Room buzzed with anticipation as Vice President J.D. Vance strode to the witness table, his navy suit crisp and his demeanor carrying the confidence of someone who had transformed from best-selling author to heartland champion to the second highest office in the land. At 41, Vance had built his political brand on being the voice of forgotten America, the Yale-educated populist who could translate elite credentials into working-class credibility. Across the table sat Representative Jasmine Crockett, invited to the joint hearing on defense spending and Veterans Affairs due to her work on military justice reform. The 43-year-old Texas Democrat had been methodically questioning witnesses about sexual assault cases in the military and the Pentagon's failure to implement meaningful accountability measures. Her background as a civil rights attorney had given her insights into systemic failures that most politicians simply couldn't match. What should have been a routine oversight hearing was about to become a political earthquake. Vance, clearly uncomfortable with Crockett's pointed questions about military justice failures during his brief Senate tenure, had decided to go on the offensive. He believed his Appalachian roots and bestseller credentials would easily overwhelm what he saw as another coastal elite hiding behind identity politics. Just minutes earlier, Vance had launched into a prepared attack on Crockett's record, questioning her qualifications to oversee military matters, and suggesting that her focus on justice reform was really about advancing a woke agenda that weakened American defense. His tone carried that practiced populist edge that had helped him win Ohio and secure the vice presidency. But J.D. Vance was about to discover that Jasmine Crockett hadn't spent 15 years in Texas courtrooms to be intimidated by someone who wrote one book about hillbillies and thought that made him the voice of working America. She had come prepared with facts that would expose the fundamental hypocrisy in everything Vance claimed to represent. Before we dive into this absolutely explosive confrontation that left the entire committee stunned, the Senate Armed Services
Jasmine Crockett locks eyes with Pam Bondi, and you can instantly tell something explosive is coming. The tone shifts, the room tightens, and Crockett drops a line that Bondi clearly wasn't ready for. In that split second, the entire panel goes silent. It's sharp, it's bold, and it puts Bondi on the defensive in front of millions. And trust me, what Crockett exposes next is the moment everyone will replay. Stay locked in. This is where everything flips.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And I first just want to begin with a news alert. Guess what? Joe Biden is not the president anymore. So maybe we can move on. Maybe we can move into the present, because it seems like we are living in the past. And listen, these are not the good old days, you know, like you used to sit around and your grandparents would talk to you about what used to happen. What we need to be talking about is how we are going to legislate, because I think that some of my colleagues have confused what our jobs are. And I get that we're sitting in judiciary. And so it may seem as if we are here to be litigators, but we are here to be legislators, which means that we are supposed to be writing laws, not trying to have our own trials and determine whether or not something is true or not, or whatever the case is, or who should be sued, who shouldn't be sued. All I know is that a great American hero, a good senator out of New Jersey, said something to the effect yesterday as he was shattering the record for holding the floor, a record that had been held by another racist in this country. As he shattered that, he said something about the fact that this should not be about left versus right. It should be about right versus wrong. And I am going to tell you that I want us to focus on right versus wrong. The reason that we are struggling right now in this country as it relates to people not trusting agencies, honestly, a lot of it is because of elected leaders. Let me tell you, one of the things that the chairman and I actually agree upon, we don't agree on a lot, is that we both know that there has been a sharp incline as it relates to threats upon our lives. Regardless of what side of the aisle you sit on, we both know and agree that as sitting members of Congress, we both are enduring more death threats than anybody should in this country. And I believe that it is because of the divisive rhetoric, and it is because of the selective enforcement of things. And so when we have, and I'm gonna be clear, because I had remarks and I'm going a whole other way. To have the sitting attorney general go on, and I'm gonna call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me. To have her go on Fox News and to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me, it was wrong. Because here it is, she is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information, and they are believing that simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing, that she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm gonna say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook, because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him, because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting that high and is going to sit up here and threaten a sitting member of Congress, when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers, just like I've told protesters over and over and over in the history of me advising people to go out and exercise their constitutional right. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law. The reason that our party, or I won't even say our party, our country is torn apart is because we can't even agree on right versus wrong. This should not be left versus right. The only thing that we're asking is that we have law enforcement that will show up when there is an actual crime. If somebody calls and says, hey, I need you to investigate this cyber crime, or I need you to investigate this child pornography, or I need you to investigate this robbery, then we want somebody to show up, and we don't want them to look at us and act as if just because I'm Black or because I'm woman, that I am not worthy of having that case investigated, because we have an administration that is continuously railing against diversity, equity, and inclusion, or we don't need people that show up that feel like diversity should not be valued. That is why we should have somebody that may show up and looks like me. The final thing that I'll say, because you've been gracious, is this. When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm Black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, let me tell you something. When I walk in, I'm going to walk in with a level of rapport and understanding that maybe some of my other colleagues will not. Charlie offered me my job, and I worked my butt off, and I worked really, really hard for all of my clients, not just those that look like me. And that is what it looks like to serve. Thank you.
It started with that thick,
There has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining. Yet we are supposed to believe that
That's
you are
false.
the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go
false.
through is to talk about why you are a failure, and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss, because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you are already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, you know, we're happy because now we feel safe. I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists, because I specifically as a Black woman definitely don't feel safe. And frankly, my colleagues have been real nice to you today, and I applaud them, but I don't have the same demeanor because I know that multiple colleagues on this side of the aisle have faced death threats. In fact, somebody tried to kill one of my colleagues. And frankly, I don't know if this FBI or under your leadership, if those people would have been caught. I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. And I know my colleagues have tried to stress this, but I decided that I would maybe do it in a different way. Number one, I have a couple of UCs. Kim Buck, one of multiple Republicans receiving death threats for voting against Jim Jordan as House Speaker.
Without objection.
Another one, Republican lawmaker says she received death threats after voting against Jim Jordan in Speaker's race.
Without objection.
In addition, there was another one from another colleague who now is leaving Congress because they said that they were calling his wife anonymously and threatening her life to the extent that she ended up sleeping with a firearm.
Without objection.
Okay, so here's the deal. How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets. You're getting rid of your most qualified people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody. And then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap. Because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there, even though he literally confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing, except for trying to put on a show for the apprentice or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, Black people kept saying, how did we end up in this? Because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're going to do anything about the white supremacy problem. The one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their churches.
The time of the gentlelady has expired.
I want you to tell me whether or not it's lawful or lawless, ignoring court orders,
That's lawless.
impounding congressional funds,
Violates the law.
invoking emergency powers when there is no emergency,
Unlawful.
sending troops without an invite,
Violates the law.
Covering for pedophiles. I just threw that one in there. Okay, I'll move to the next one. What about revoking birthright citizenship?
Violates the 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
How about violating due process?
Violates the 5th and 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
How about what we see happening with redistricting that would in some way minimize, if not delete, the voices of people of color as they are going through and illegally going through this process? Is there a constitutional amendment that you can think of that is associated with that?
Probably many, but it is
Okay.
unlawful and unconstitutional and
Thank-
un-American.
Thank you. As well as, can you tell me if it is lawful or lawless to violate free speech?
That's lawless.
Okay, sounds about right. Because, we had to have a conversation about Jimmy Kimmel. So I'm going to say free Jimmy Kimmel for sure. And hopefully we will deal with the FCC chairman. But the reason that I wanted to go through that long list, and that was actually not even the half of it, is because since this administration has come in on January 20th, they have engaged in some form of every single thing that I said on that list, even the part about covering for pedophiles. So my question is, why are we sitting here today? Number one, they already passed their bootleg laws, and it's clear that even the bill author is not well informed about what his bill does. Because as has already been stated, at the age of 18, you are an adult. So this idea that somehow 21-year-olds were now somehow juveniles under DC law, is that accurate or inaccurate?
It was inaccurate, misunderstood the way the law works.
Correct. Could not understand how to read the law and decided that they were going to rewrite the law and mess up the law. And to be clear, we were talking about judges being able to have enough discretion to decide whether or not they were going to give someone an opportunity maybe to clean their record, such as the bill author was given that opportunity under Florida law because his second felony was picked up when he was 21, to be clear. So he was older than 18. And under this law, if you were under 25, so 24 or under, then the judges had discretion, correct?
But only in certain kinds of cases, not the most serious cases. And in fact, that discretion was, as we know, exercised very rarely. And it would have been an opportunity had the Congress wanted to talk with the folks who are involved in applying that law and seeing how it works, to understand that this is not a law that's out of sync with other states, and it's working.
Thank you so much. And the reason that it matters is because now the gentleman from Florida is trying to become a governor, and chances are maybe DC, once they get statehood, could have had a future governor that had a second chance. But since they don't want other people to have chances that they've been given, they want to just pretend like they are bigger and better and badder than. So I will move on because I am frustrated that we are having this hearing when we know that this administration can't take care of their own business. As we know, they recently illegally bombed yet another Venezuelan boat, and we may be headed for a war. We know that this particular president has decided that he wants to shake down people as relates to the First Amendment, because he has filed not one lawsuit, not two lawsuits, but he has filed numerous lawsuits. He filed a lawsuit against the New York Times. He filed one against the Wall Street Journal, against CBS, against ABC, against the Des Moines Register. He is doing all of this because he wants to quash any speech that is not appreciative or lauding him, which is pretty much anything that's factual. So let's talk a few facts about these January 6th felons that should still be incarcerated because they went through the process, but because they were doing things on his behalf, of course, he wanted to let them go. So they released more than 1,000 people who participated in the insurrection on this government, many of whom had previous criminal records, like Mr. Theodore Mendenforth, who was convicted of predatory criminal sexual assault of a child, or Mr. Peter Schwartz, who had 38 prior convictions, including one where he beat his wife by repeatedly punching and biting her. Trump also pardoned Mr. David Daniel, who was convicted of production and possession of child pornography. Trump also pardoned Mr. Daniel Ball, who, quote, threw an explosive device that detonated upon at least 25 officers during the Capitol riot. He also had a record for, quote, domestic violence by strangulation. I'm not done. Trump also pardoned Mr. Andrew Taki, who sent nudes to an undercover law enforcement officer
officer who was posing as a 15-year-old girl. Mr. Casey Hopkins also received a pardon from Trump, and Mr. Hopkins was convicted of forcible rape. According to court records, he, quote, had forcible intercourse with the victim, choked her to the point of impairing her vision, banged her head into a wall, and urinated into the victim's mouth as he humiliated her. These are the people that he decided to release in the streets of DC. So if anybody does need to clean up DC, I would agree it is this man, because he is the one that is causing half the crime that we have. Not only is he participating in the crime, but we know that he instigated the insurrection. And if I did say that I had one issue with the Biden-Harris administration, it is the fact that they did not move forward and make sure that this man was put where he should have been put. Because the last time I checked as a criminal defense attorney, and Mr. Attorney General, you may have a different experience, but I never had a defendant that had 34 convictions for felonies and did not spend one day in jail. Never in my life. And the last time I checked, the party of law and order is the only one that decided that they would be out of order and decided to nominate someone who was not only indicted, but was actually convicted of multiple felonies. That has never happened in this country. And it is a shame that we are dealing with it now. And now he wants to tell y'all how to do your jobs.
Okay.
Sorry. I don't know why it's so hazy. I feel like I'm in a haze. I'm in a daze. Okay. All right, y'all. I just got off of a delayed flight. I've got lots of things that I have to do in Michigan tomorrow. Oh, let me move my TV. And yes, I ain't got no makeup on or nothing, but I had to go live, y'all. I had to. I just had to. And I actually don't like the way that this is. Zach is doing something. I don't know what Zach just did. Okay. All right. Does that mean people can hear me? Okay. Zach is helping me. Okay. So here is the deal. I want to talk about this. So my staff has to keep me posted on what y'all got to say. So I could not go to sleep. In fact, I couldn't even eat my dinner until I got on to talk to y'all about the drama between Trump and his boo, or used to be boo. I'm not really sure what the status is, y'all, but listen, this is better than when Trump broke up with Elon, y'all. Him and Marjorie, say it ain't so, say it ain't so. Okay, so I think it's hilarious that they are fighting. I also think it's hilarious that she decided that she was gonna drop receipts on him and be like, boo, I ain't even been blowing up your phone. I have been like texting you. And it was wild to read her text message. So for all of y'all that believe that Marjorie has finally seen the light, you see that like this still was about believing that Democrats were the ones that were all intertwined with Epstein. And so like that's a big part of her really wanting this out, because she really believes that Hillary and Bill are a big part of this, which is wild. But nevertheless, like I don't care who in it. Like if you want to mess with little children, if you have messed with little children, I have a problem with you. It doesn't matter your political affiliation. It seems like Republicans only want to call out criminals if they believe that those criminals are from the opposite party. They are all good with criminality so long as it's coming out of their party, as they are constantly trying to dip into our tax dollars. Because now they want to pay another one of his homies $50 million, who Michael Flynn. Mm-hmm. They want to pay him $50 million of your tax dollars after he gets his over $200 million of your tax dollars. And after those senators, those 8 senators, you know, the ones that were like, oh, we want to open the government, after they get they half. $500,000 too. But hey, don't worry. You know, people not gonna have healthcare in this country, and most of them like probably gonna be struggling to eat, because y'all heard y'all's president say that he wants everybody who's on SNAP. Yes, those 42 million people, he wants everybody to reapply for SNAP. Now imagine you would furlough people, you done rift people, you done just straight up fired people, all kinds of stuff, and you're saying you want 42 million people to reapply because we're going to be able to process that. No, it's a game. Okay, so I want to talk to y'all for just a quick second, because I gotta go to bed, because these people want me to speak tomorrow. I don't know why they want me to speak, but they want me to speak, and so I'm gonna have to get my life together. Also, he canceled all of his appearances coming up. And okay, so I know y'all know. I know y'all know better. I know y'all not it's not a hoax, but I think it's so funny that he's like, yeah, it's just a hoax. It's a Democratic hoax, right? It's a Democratic hoax about the Epstein files, even though his own attorney general said the client list, all of it is sitting on my desk, right? And then she was like, I don't know what y'all talking about. I never said that. But somebody can run the tape on Pam. That's what Pam said. And then for a hoax, it's wild how far he's like willing to go, right? He decided that he was going to have Lauren Boebert. So imagine a man saying that it is a hoax, that this other man and other men were using their power to somehow, well, not somehow, to rape girls and women. They use their power over these women and girls. And then you decide you're going to bring a whole sitting congresswoman into the Situation Room so that you can use your power over her to try to get her to back down about these files. That's wild. And then your team is so smart that they decided, you know what, we may need to do a little extra cleanup. So let's get some kids and bring them to the Oval Office to play with the president. Yeah, okay. All right. That was my face too. Okay, so my staff is about to text me and tell me what y'all want to talk about. And then I'm gonna get off. My staff ain't told me nothing. Y'all gonna tell me something? Okay, y'all not talking. Well, y'all are talking, but y'all ain't answering questions. Okay, I guess really there's no questions to be asked. We know what it is. We know that this is ridiculous. Oh, final point that I'll make, and then, oh, no, I got 2 more points. And then I'll jump off if y'all ain't got questions. Number 1, y'all know how he also said this affordability thing is a Democratic hoax, right? He said people are great. You know, they got money. Everybody's got like they bank rolls, right? I think he's talking about his homies, but he's not talking about the rest of us. So with that, he decided he was going to roll back his tariffs. The tariffs that he said are good for us, he's decided he wants to roll them back now. I imagine why. Still, he's not doing enough. He needs to roll back all of them because obviously the Republicans in the Senate ain't got no spine. The Republicans in the House ain't got no spine. And frankly, I'm waiting on the Supreme Court to just like lay down the hammer instead of trying to deal with him with kid gloves. So yeah, these tariffs, he only want to roll them back on some of the foods. He needs to roll them all the way back because he don't know what he's doing and he's messing up everybody's lives. In addition to that, okay, I want to talk to y'all about this. So last week there was this video that went all over the place. I don't even know if it was last week. It was probably like a week and a half ago. And there was this candidate who was running in the special election for Congressional District 18 down in Houston. And he was incredibly rude to someone that he, I guess, wanted to vote for him. I'm not really sure because I can't really understand how it is that you're at the polls and you're going to be rude to anybody in their face. Like, at least like be like, can you go vote for me? And then maybe like on the side when they gone, talk your talk. But instead, he decided to get into it with her. And to be clear, I did endorse a candidate in that race. His name is Christian Menifee. There were 16 candidates on the ballot, and Christian came in first. Okay. I just needed to park that there because I need y'all to understand where I'm going in case you haven't seen the video. So then he goes on and he tells her that she's rude. That's why we got issues with Black women, blah, blah, blah. Y'all just loud, abrasive, whatever. And then he goes, you're a Jasmine Crockett type. Yes, that is what he said. And he really thought that was a flex. Mind you, again, the candidate I endorsed in that district came in first. Your homeboy who had all this nonsense to talk at the polls, yeah, he didn't even get honorable mention out of the 16 people that were running. So, people were in the comments supporting our good sis who was going out doing her civic duties. So mad love, because people should not roll up to the polls and get harassed by MAGA. Like, that's not the way to win. In fact, I don't really care who you are. You should not harass people at the polls. When people decide that they want to go vote, I absolutely think that it's amazing for candidates to be out there to surrender themselves to the voters and make themselves available to talk about what it is that they want to do for them. But at the end of the day, if they decide that they don't like you or want you, that's okay too. And you should just move on. So as I was looking at a bunch of the comments, y'all was like, we need the merch. So we are dropping the merch. I am about to and I'm by myself, which is why we were having technical difficulties. But I wanted to make sure that we talked about a couple of things because there's just no way that today was the day that it was. There's no way that we are living in the United States of America. Emphasis on united. Like, there is no way. And hopefully my team is paying attention and can get all your questions, because I definitely want to go through some of that with y'all. So let's first talk about what was popping today. All right. So we had the President of the United States, and Lord knows, I'd give anything for just a normal person, a non-evil person, a person with a conscience, a person with some sort of competence, a person with some coof, a person with anything other than what we have, I think would be better at this point in time. It is absolutely ridiculous. So here it is. You have former servicemen and women in some way that decided to do a video because they are very concerned about how evil this man is, and the fact that everyone surrounding him has decided that they're okay with him being evil so long as the evil doesn't hit them. Okay. So he decides that because these people who are continuing to serve this country in the form of being elected either US House members or US senators, he decided to say basically, like, hang them, like death to them. A sitting US president said this. Now, you say anything near it on the internet, in a joke, anything in a text message, let me tell you, somebody's gonna be at your front door tracking you down to do something to you. And I just don't understand why we continue to lower the standard. I mean, like, I don't even understand how much lower you can go. Like, literally, we are all in hell with him right now. That's how I feel. Like, I legitimately feel that way. And speaking of flames, we had a fire today at the Capitol too. That was a lot. Yeah. One of our trains caught fire. I don't know if, somebody trying to send up a smoke signal. Somebody is trying to warn us. The question is whether or not we are listening. So in addition to this hate, and mind you, I know y'all remember how people were acting when it came to the fact that Charlie Kirk was killed, and like all the Democrats immediately came out, were like, hey, like, political violence should be denounced. period, point blank. Don't really care if you agree, disagree, whatever, but like it should never get to the point that someone is openly calling for the killing of somebody, nor that someone participates in the killing of somebody because they disagree. We did that. Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, and my staff is watching, but I don't recall not one Republican saying anything today about the president. I don't recall them saying, Mr. President, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe you should not do that. No one should have to say that to the president, but that's where we are. In addition to this political hate for those on the opposite side of him, we know that now they want to reclassify swastikas and nooses. They really not that bad. They really not that bad. Y'all are just, being dramatic. They're not that bad. I guess they're not that bad when you don't know history. I guess they're not that bad when you remove history. I guess they're not that bad when I guess you want to appease white supremacists in this country, which I have been saying over and over and over and over. And the only thing that MAGA can say is that I'm a racist or I'm race baiting, and they don't even know what it means to bait anything, because that's a little bit of, but anyway, whole other issue. But the point is, like, they get mad when you call a thing, and I will continue to call things because I'm not crazy and I'm not blind. And I understand what it is when you tell people that there were good people on both sides. When you talk about Charlottesville, I understand when you say things like Proud Boys stand back and stand by. I understand that over 1,000 people were convicted when it came down to January 6th. And so many of them were neo-Nazis and Aryan Brotherhood and all of these various race-hating groups, these white supremacist groups, right? And next thing you know, they're going to be declared to be the soccer moms under this administration. That's what they going to do. They not even going, honestly, they're about to outlaw the idea of white supremacy and white hate. Like, they are about to be like, oh, that's not a thing. Forget the fact that you're talking about getting rid of like the classification for nooses in a time in which we have seen these random Black bodies be strung up down south. Also, seemingly at a time in which you're back in office, because what you do is you embolden the hate. You embolden everybody to take off their hoods. That is what he has done. He is the one that is producing this violence. Listen, in this country, what makes this country what it is that you can have disagreements and you don't go to jail, or you don't get lynched, or you don't get persecuted. Like, that's what you are supposed to have in America. He doesn't want America. He is constantly kissing the ass of everybody that does everything that is anti-democratic. Baby, you need to go be a ruler somewhere else, because America was not built for this, okay? And it's, clear that at least some of America is waking up. I sincerely hope and pray that the rest of America wakes up sooner rather than later. Okay, so speaking about the white supremacists, y'all, because that's what they are. They're actually like white losers, but that's a whole other issue. Because anybody that feels like they need to go around and talk about why they quote unquote are supreme, yeah, this is why they don't like the word equality and they don't like the word equity, because they are threatened by it. And well, we've seen their version of greatness. I mean, y'all mark my words, but Comey is gonna get off. Like, and the bad part is Democrats don't even like Comey like that. Like, we don't mess with you. We feel like the only reason we were ever subjected to Donald Trump in the first place was because of Comey. Like, we absolutely believe that he is the catalyst for getting us into this mess in the first place. We could have just put this man to rest and not had him win any election if Comey had not done what Comey did. And that was at a time in which everybody wanted to say it's the emails. The emails. Y'all gonna talk about the bombs he dropping? Yeah, the emails. Y'all gonna talk about him being all up and through the nasty Epstein files? No, y'all was still so mad about the emails. We ain't gonna talk about the Saudi prince. We ain't gonna talk about the stealing of American taxpayer dollars. We're not gonna talk about the destruction of our economy. We're not gonna talk about you tearing down the daggone East Wing. We are going to talk about, yeah, y'all was real upset. I need y'all to have that Hillary email energy right now. All the MAGA that had all the energy and all the smoke for the emails, they probably ain't even understand what the point was, because y'all ain't even have no smoke for the signal leaks. The signal leaks, y'all ain't have no smoke for that. None. But I'm gonna need y'all to find your Hillary email energy and smoke, and I'm gonna need y'all to go ahead and apply it accordingly, or at least find your Nixon. Find your Nixon energy. We need the Nixon Republicans to step forward, please. Please. Please, because Watergate, what Nixon is rolling over in his grave right now, talking about why in the hell did I ever leave? Listen, America believes in corruption, because if you've seen Donald Trump, baby, that was child's play what Nixon was up to. That is exactly what that means. Okay, but back to the white supremacists. Today, in my office, or he didn't get in my office, but there was a white power supremacist individual flashing white supremacist signs outside of my office at the Capitol. Thank you, Capitol Police, for all you do. I hate that y'all still ain't got your check yet. I just found that out, but I hear it's on the way. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Because you know what, the whole KKK can decide that they're going to have a meeting right outside my door. And guess what? It's not going to change me being who I am. I just want to be clear about that. So you can save your time, save your energy, and potentially save your bail money and stay your raggedy, racist ass at home. Don't come for me unless I send for you. Got it? Okay. I'm glad we got that PSA out the way. This also happens to be on the day that, all of this is interrelated. So don't tell me he ain't racist, and don't tell me that he doesn't stoke racism in this country. All right, so we also need to talk about, oh yes, the way that like they get mad when I say it, but it's got to be a mental illness, because I don't really understand. So if I got some psychiatrists on here, y'all help me out. And granted, as a licensed attorney, you could literally lose your bar card if you had a client, especially in the criminal world. If you had a client who exhibited any type of anything that would make you believe, I'll say it this way, that they may have a mental health something, right? Disorder, crisis, emergency, whatever. We were trained to look for signs, and then obviously
this. You all remember back in 2019 when Donald Trump was impeached for the phone call that he made to Zelensky? He made a phone call to Zelensky, who is the current president of Ukraine. He made a phone call to Zelensky. And on that phone call in 2019, he told Zelensky to find evidence on Joe Biden and Joe Biden's son Hunter. In exchange, Trump would release the aid to Ukraine. On that phone call, on the phone in 2019, Donald Trump was impeached. Remember when Donald Trump got impeached? He was impeached for a phone call that he made to Zelensky, blackmailing Zelensky to get information on Joe Biden and Hunter Biden in exchange for the aid that we were supposed to be giving him. Donald Trump got impeached for that. Donald Trump got impeached for that phone call. Now, just this week, the same gentleman who was on the phone call with Zelensky in 2019 was on the same phone call with this Saudi Arabian prince that Donald Trump had a conversation with in 2019. Another phone call that Donald Trump was on, and he was talking to the Saudi Prince of Arabia, the one who allegedly had that reporter killed in that Turkish embassy. That Turkish embassy. Remember the Saudi prince? They accused the Saudi prince of masterminding the death of Khashoggi inside of that Turkish embassy, right? There was a gentleman who overheard that conversation too, a congressman who overheard that conversation. He also said that there's shocking evidence on that tape of something unbecoming on that tape, as well as the Zelensky tape. There was two tapes. There was two phone calls, one to Zelensky and one to the Saudi Arabian crown prince. Both of those occurred in 2019. One Trump got impeached for. The second one might actually be another impeachable phone call. Something happened on that phone call between Donald Trump and the Saudi Arabian prince. The person who overheard the phone call said the information on that phone call was shocking. It's also just as shocking as the Zelensky tape. But I don't need these facts. These facts already came out. I don't need to have facts. These are facts that already came out. Sorry, August. According to his name is Eugene Vindman, he said the tape is shocking. The tape and the conversation that Donald Trump had with the Saudi Arabian prince. The same year he had that conversation with Zelensky, threatening Zelensky to hold aid. So we need to figure out how we can get that tape with the Saudi Arabian prince, because Trump might have did something illegal on that too. This president just continues to do illegal shit.
You make a recommendation and you get that person evaluated by an actual doctor who is trained to do that work. And then that doctor determines various things. There's various things that you're looking for depending on kind of what's going on. Okay. So I'm just going to say this. I truly believe, based upon how so many people in this cult are acting, that there's a mental health crisis of some sort. I'm going to need the experts to weigh in. So here it is. MAGA has decided that they are most upset about the fact that Epstein was sending text messages to his member of Congress. That not Not that she was engaged in this stuff. Not that she got the birthday letter. Not that she got all these racy photos. Not that literally like her name is mentioned, not even a fraction
Unfortunately for you,
of
John,
the amount of times that Trump's name is mentioned. Not that she
just because you don't like her doesn't mean she's not smart or intelligent or capable of talking. Unfortunately for you, you don't have her position, nor are you in that position. So you have no room to talk. So please shut the fuck up, because you don't know what you're talking about. She's a capable woman, period. Just like most women are capable women who are lawyers, she's a capable person. Attack the argument, don't attack the person. Please hit the like and the share and the subscribe button. We have this content every day. Like, share, subscribe. Please and thank you.
ever tried to hide the files. In fact, she signed the discharge petition and she voted for the release of the files, unlike Donald Trump. Not that she was going around trying to threaten people and tell them, hey, you know what, if you decide that you are going to sign off on this, then I'm gonna have that smoke for you, right? Like, she wasn't tossing threats around or whatever, because I'm sorry, but like, we don't have ethical like rules that say that you can't receive text messages or you can't respond to text messages, especially if somebody has a certain record and you can't do it in committee. We all be sitting on our phones, and yes, people be texting. I mean, our staff texts us, like everybody texts us, like people. I remember when I had the bleach blonde situation, you know who was texting me? My pastor. Okay. So like, let me be clear. There is no ethical violation. And so the idea or the audacity to decide that you want to strip a Black woman of her committee assignment because she was texting with Epstein, but you don't even want to dig into the nitty gritty about what the president of the United States was up to? That's where we are? Okay. So, on top of everything, what I decided to do was when they decided that they were bringing this privilege motion. So, mind you, it took forever for us to get the discharge petition on the floor.
That was my understanding too, Aaliyah. She initiated a text. That's what I want to find out. You texted him at 7:22 in the morning. The Pleskett lady, are you talking about the Pleskett lady too? You texted Epstein at 2:07 something in the morning. I want to know what you texted him and why you feel the need to be upset when somebody call you out. Okay. Well, unfortunately for you, she is capable, you dingbat. She's in Congress. She knows more than you. Don't be denigrated. That's her. I want to know too. I heard she texted him first at 7:22 in the morning.
Or the actual bill that was the subject of the discharge petition on the floor, because normal bills have to go through a lot of things. You either have to get the speaker to put it on the floor or a discharge petition. But then you got these other things that you can kind of wiggle through. We call them privilege motions.
Hey, Mike. Hey. I think it's a rabbit hole. I don't know why. I would have kept her in Congress. I would have tried to grill her, put her on the damn hot seat. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I be trying to say to y'all. All these people, they got something. They getting paid by somebody. They getting paid by all these people. These people know each other. They know each other. They party with each other. They sleep with each other. They have 3 and 4 and 5-somes and shit like that. All of them people be doing that shit. And there's all of them. It ain't a matter of rich. It's all of them. I don't trust a thing. When I heard that lady, she was texting Epstein at 7 o'clock in the morning. The Black lady texted him first. I was like, oh, you were knocking boots with him too. He was knocking you down too, huh? Yeah. Epstein was knocking her down too. They all in on it together.
And so when you are trying to censure, because it used to be something that carried weight, now it's just, I don't like you, and so I'm gonna censor you. Or I want to distract from the real issue, because we losing right now, right? Then you can bring a privilege motion and that can come up immediately. All right. So they brought this privilege motion, and unfortunately, the Republicans had more smoke for Stacey getting a text message, which they knew if we sent it to ethics, that ethics would not do anything because there was no ethical violation. But they
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's put it to the test, y'all. How many of y'all put it in the chat? I need you to put in the chat, or one in the chat, who think Melania don't know nothing. If you think she don't know nothing, if you think she knows something, put a 1 in the chat. If you think she know everything, put a 1 in the chat. I'm talking about Trump's wife. If you think she know the deal, she know the real deal, put it in the chat. No, I said put a 1 in the chat if you think she know everything. She know everything. They all know everything. They all doing the thing. Okay? This shit is theater. This shit is theater. All those people in the Congress, all those friends, all of those some of them contract people, some of them other people, they all in on it together. Do you think that Melania don't know what the fuck Epstein was doing? Why ain't nobody went after her? Why ain't nobody put her under subpoena? Why ain't nobody said nothing about what she doing? The black lady who got to eat, the black lady who texted Epstein at 7 o'clock in the morning. You think he was hitting that? His house was on her island. You think he wasn't hitting that? Okay. we know what time it is. All these people are in on this shit together.
They decided that they wanted to have their time on the microphone and be in front of the cameras. Mind you, the very next day, when a Republican brought a privilege motion, Nancy Mace, against another Republican for domestic violence allegations, for allegations of maybe doing governmental contracts and getting and sitting on a committee of jurisdiction in which he is getting government contracts from that same kind of area, as well as having a restraining order on him. Right. I don't remember if in all that reading she put in there about him not paying his DC rent that's like over $10,000 a month for his DC apartment, his work apartment. Yes. So Nancy Mace goes against Corey Mills. And if y'all Google Corey Mills, you will see all the tea. They decide that they don't want to debate it. They just went ahead and sent that into ethics. And he most likely is going to have some issues because there's going to be some ethical issues.
Y'all, the reason why I watch her is because you can listen to her, and she has some stuff that you will know the background. When you hear shit, you'll be like, oh, Jasmine said something about that. She'll give you the behind the scenes, some of this shit. Okay. And you listen to her off the cuff. Cause as you can see, she just diarrhea of the mouth. She just talking. So she might spill some tea she ain't supposed to. That's why I listen to her, cause she might say some shit, right? She might say some shit and you be like, oh, okay, that's why. AOC do the same thing. She be running diarrhea of the mouth too.
For sure, because it's a little bit more than text messaging. So they decided that they wanted to come out, they wanted to talk mess or whatever. We ended up having to do this on the spot, basically.
Why wouldn't you vote for her? You at least know your Texas, your congressperson is gonna be honest about what the fuck is going on. At least she'll tell you the truth. The other ones ain't even gonna tell you the truth. You want the other ones to lie to you? Are you crazy? Why would you want somebody to lie to you? You live in Texas, so I know you know what a piece of shit, what the hell is his name? He's a senator. You know what a piece of shit is your senator is. Okay. Why would you come on here and say Negro women? Fake hair and fake left. Get your ass out of my chat if all you can talk about is fake hair and fake nails. What the fuck does fake hair and fake nails got to do with these crooks up in goddamn Washington? What the hell does that have to do with anything? You lost your damn mind, Sean McCluskey. Everybody in her district loves her. Y'all just be goofy. Y'all just be goofy. For real. Y'all just be goofy. What the fuck does hair and nails got to do with them people taking our money? Get in the game. Stop talking about hair and nails. Get in the goddamn game and get to know your representative.
And so MAGA is so scared. And baby, let me MAGA, listen up, MAGA. Listen, okay? Because y'all.
She's not in. What the fuck do I care where she came from? She's in Texas. What the fuck do I care about St. Louis?
Worry about the wrong thing. Y'all need to be worried about the fact that like everybody losing jobs and the economy is shit. And like, yeah. And our enemies are somehow now our friends, and our friends are going to become our enemies. Like y'all.
Ain't nobody afraid of her. You don't need to be afraid of her. She's well liked in her community. That's the whole point.
We got real issues, but y'all.
There's not one, I don't know one congressman. All y'all congressmen, is all of y'all congressmen doing these impromptu videos and shit like that? Don't call her low IQ. She ain't no low IQ. She got her IQ is higher than yours. Stop it. Her IQ is higher than yours because you came on here crashing out and you don't even know who she is. And the whole point is, y'all don't have Congress people who come on here and just talk impromptu and take questions and tell you what's going on. Tell me how many of y'all got senators and congressmen that do that. She's the only one that I know. That's crazy. Y'all wild. Just be out here just living. Don't even think about half the shit you saying.
To listen to right-wing media. So I get up.
You don't know jack shit. You don't know jack shit about her because you ain't no fucking 43.
And I wanted to make a point. And I think
that don't even make sense, Slick Rick. Don't even make sense.
I think I made that point. Now, whether or not it went over certain people's heads, because like maybe I get too deep sometimes.
Apparently it goes over.
But what we're not going to do is start kicking people off committees because of who it is that donated to them. And so, yes, anybody can go to fec.gov. You can look. And yes, I did not lie whatsoever.
You mean to tell me that you think that the videos that your goofy 70 IQ president, you believe his videos have a point? You honestly believe that man has a point?
Woo. So get over it. I'm still better than y'all.
Your president has walked himself into a fucking impeachment, and you're on here defending the goofy president.
Y'all, you know why? Because y'all go out and intentionally lie to people, like saying, you know what, don't believe your lying eyes that there was an insurrection on January 6th.
Yeah, they want us to believe that. What do we want to believe? Our lying eye. We supposed to believe? We don't believe that. We know you're lying. We know you're lying. She's the shit because she's a truth teller. The problem is people don't like the truth. People don't like when people tell the truth. People don't like when you open your mouth and speak. People don't like the fact that she opens her mouth and speak. I know that the Republican Party really don't give a shit about y'all. I know that for sure. Please put in the chat what the Republican Party has done for you guys between the amounts of 30 and 150K. Please put it in the chat. I would like to know what the big beautiful bill has done for you goofy ass motherfuckers in my chat who made 30 to 150K. I really want to know. I really want to know. And then come back here and talk to me.
Don't believe your lying eyes that prices are higher. Don't believe your lying pocketbook that prices are higher. Don't believe the fact that you don't have a job and like the job market is really tight. And
yeah, Leatrice, they just don't get it. Please hit the like and share and subscribe. Goofy goofies who actually want to hear the truth instead of live in the bubble, who get butthurt when people tell them the truth. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. I only want people who want to hear facts. I don't want people who just want to be licked on the ass and told the truth. I like people who tell the truth. I don't like people who lie and say facts. Who was charged with insurrection? Mike, shut your ass up. Shut your ass up. Sure she is. That's why she's a U.S. Senator. Jackass. If she's unqualified, then I know your president is unqualified. Shut your ass up.
We have less jobs available than we do bodies to work right now.
My party brought me health care. My party brought me Social Security. My party brought me Medicaid and Medicare, Social Security, food stamp. That's what my party brought. What did your party bring?
Like, they want you to never believe what's what, but like, yeah, Lee Zeldin admitted he received a donation from Jeffrey Epstein. That's what I said. Sure, it is what it is. Now, whether or not it was that same one, we didn't have time to do all that. But the point is, let me tell y'all what the point is for the people in the back that are really slow.
For the goofy goofies in the back that are really slow, listen up, goofy goofies in the back. Really slow. It's about 5 or 6 of y'all. Really slow. Goofy goofies.
You don't kick people off of committees because they've received a donation at some point in time in history from somebody that has, say, a conviction. Do we want to go down and look at how many times Rudy Giuliani then donated to some of these people? I got a whole list. I mean, do we want to talk about the people that the president is actually letting out of prison right now? How many of them are sex offenders and all that good stuff? Do we want to talk about that? Do we want to talk about how many?
No, I want truth tellers. I want people who actually tell me the truth. I want to know how many people the president pardoned who broke into the Capitol building, who were there on January 6th. I want to know that as a true thing. I don't want to gloss over it like I'm a goofy and say nobody broke into the Capitol. No, I want to live in reality. I don't want to live in no goofiness. You all want to live in a reality where nobody broke into the Capitol. No president. Pardoning all those people who did X, Y, and Z. Okay? No, that's living in reality. When you live in reality, you know January 6th happened. It's on camera. It's on camera. But no. Goofy goofies want us to believe that what we saw with our eyes are lying. Our eyes are lying. This is what goofy. I don't want to live in that kind of world. You want to live in that goofy world, you go ahead.
Many of those billionaires have donated to the Republicans and need to be kicked off their. That is the point for the slow people. That is the point. We don't kick people off of committees for something like that. That is absolutely ridiculous. You can say what you want to say. And listen, ultimately, if people don't get reelected because the people that elected them fell away because maybe they took a donation from a certain, then
I know you did not get in this goddamn chat after all night long. Not one person in this chat said jack shit about boys touching boys, and you got your ass in this chat talking about people walking around touching little boys. It's got to be a Republican, because only y'all bring up that bullshit when you're in the middle of doing anything other than that. You bring up something about boys touching boys. That's why your party is failing. That's why your party is failing, Sean McCluskey, because you goofy tards keep bringing up stuff like boys in the bathroom, and you ain't never seen no boy in the damn bathroom. Jesus. Man, some of y'all, no. What does it say that a whole bunch of MAGA people followed a clown like Donald Trump over the damn cliff? What the hell does it say that a whole bunch of people followed a clown over the goddamn cliff? And Mark J, Democrats ain't got shit. Democrats ain't got a party. They ain't got a message. They ain't got a leader. But they beating the shit out of you goddamn Republicans. They beating the shit out of y'all. And that's fucked up.
Fine, so be it. All of this is a matter of public record. It's a
matter of public record. I don't even need to tell you about that. It's a matter of public record.
Matter of public record. So long as we do like we're supposed to and file our reports, and we file our reports. And if there's an issue, just know that we don't have a quorum at the FEC right now. You know why? Because Donnie Boy went and got rid of all of them, so that anybody that wants to break the FEC laws can.
Yeah, so no one is denying January 6th. Yeah, but y'all seem to think that we blind and we didn't see what we saw. No, it wasn't that bad. It ain't that bad, y'all. It ain't that bad. They broke into the Capitol and took a dump on Nancy Pelosi's desk. It ain't that bad, y'all. You don't get to determine what's bad and what's not when you do the crime. That's the fucking point. When you do the bad thing, you don't get to tell me, "Oh, I didn't do such a bad thing." Don't take it so bad. We didn't do such a bad thing. You don't get to determine that. Just dumb.
We don't have a quorum. Yeah. Tells you where their priorities are. They just want to defund and break everything.
Rage-based
All right, so let me make sure I covered everything for y'all, and then I will get to your questions because the Sierra did already put some up. Yes.
No, Gregory Smith, they think it wasn't that big a deal. What happened at the Capitol wasn't no big a deal. That's what they keep saying. They keep saying did nothing happen January 6th. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad January 6th. Just one woman died. It wasn't no big deal according to them. Only one woman died. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad at all. Hey, they were just walking in the park. Ain't that bad.
Okay. So the final thing that I'll say, and I'll see what Sierra has put up, is y'all can stop asking me if I'm running for Senate. I promise you.
Please run for Senate. Please run against that Ted Cruz. You need to lose that Ted Cruz. He is a shitty senator. He's a shitty Republican senator. He's a shitty senator, period. He needs to go. They need to challenge him. Somebody in the Republican Party needs to challenge that man. That man needs to go. Ted Cruz needs to go.
I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't talk about this on the other side. Y'all were asking me, but we're on the campaign side right now. So I am being perfectly honest with you. Our poll is in the field. Our poll is not being done the traditional way. Our poll is being done the way that I think we would need it to be done to know whether or not we can actually win. And I am supposed to get the polling results on tomorrow. At the latest, I'm supposed to get them on Monday. So if you are in Texas and you get asked them, answer the questions and be honest about how you feel. But this is going to be a really, really tough decision.
But here's the thing. And Andy, the blue wave is coming. Yeah, Jim Robertson, you're a loser. I'm a loser. What you saying? You saying something different? You ain't saying jack shit. So my thing is this. Ted Cruz needs to be primaried. Ted Cruz needs to be gone because he's a shitty senator. He's always been a shitty senator. He's never looked out for his Republican people. He's never done that. So I don't speak EBT either. I think I'm further from EBT than you are, Two-Tone. I'm pretty goddamn sure I'm way further from EBT than you. Stop it. So Ted Cruz needs to be primary. So somebody needs to primary Ted Cruz. I don't know whether she's in that district or not. I had to look and see. She's not in my state. I wouldn't move to Texas if you paid me. So I wouldn't know nothing. But a blue wave is coming. I mean, it is what it is, but, it just is what it is. So it just depends. If the trend keeps going this way and the Epstein files keep going this way and Donald Trump keeps stalling with the Epstein files are supposed to come out right before Christmas. If they come out, if they don't come out, It's going to drag on until the beginning of January. Once it drags on, NHN Huffle Hunter, who said they hated this country? I think I've been in this country longer than you. What the fuck are you talking about? So if the Epstein file, they dragging their feet on the Epstein file. So if they drag their feet on the Epstein files and the Epstein files don't come out, 9 times out of 10, he's probably going to drag himself in the Epstein files. The Epstein, if the midterms were held today, Dems 55% GOP, even PGF, even if y'all hit the like, share, subscribe. We always had this kind of content, political content. We sometimes we talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Sometimes we talk about what Marjorie Taylor Greene, I believe, is quitting her job so that she can run for governor, or she's gonna run for Senate. She's gonna run for one or the other. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Don't let that woman fool y'all. She's doing something. So anyway, they sat on the files because they were under investigation. That is what the Biden camp said. And I think Biden was under a lot more pressure to do different things other than release the Epstein files, okay? So the Epstein files was not important to us. They were important to you guys. They wasn't important to us. Your president said he wanted to release the file. We didn't say that. But, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene quit her job so that she could run. Well, she still gets her health care. She still gets her health care. She still get her pension. So she only has to work in the Senate for X, Y, and Z, and she gets a pension. So her pension, she quits on January 5th. Her pension kicks in on January 3rd. So she's quitting after her pension kicks in. And then she's going to run for senator or governor. She's going to do one or the other. And so is this lady right here, senator or governor. But the Texas people, they definitely need to be run. Oh, and by the way, what is that? That poll says 55 to 44. The Democrats apparently got a 14-point, that's an outlier, the 14-point lead. But even if that lead holds, even if that lead degrades all the way down to 3 points, it's going to be a massive, and I mean massive, blue wave over the Republicans. Donald Trump has fucked up this Republican Party so bad that there's no way you guys are going to win. No, this is more than CNN. I'm sorry, Two-Tone. This is more than CNN, okay? This is more than CNN. Don't get it twisted in your mind. It's a blue wave that's going to come for y'all.
Decision for me. I'm going to be perfectly honest with y'all. I don't take it lightly.
Ain't no hoping.
And this decision isn't about
no
me.
hoping. Ain't no hoping.
A lot of people talk about the primary poll, and yes, you got to get through the primary to get to the general. I want to be clear with y'all that I want whomever has a chance at actually flipping the seat to be the one. So even if the polling says that person is like not the strongest.
Who's been saying a blue wave to 20? I ain't been saying shit about no blue waves in 2020. See, your president has taken massive hits. He's even underwater with his own party. All of the Hispanics, the bulk of the Hispanics has swung the other way. The bulk of the independents who decide elections have swung the other way. The Democrats who didn't vote, plus the Democrats who sat out and vote, plus the Democrats who voted third party, they're all back in line. Because your president is such a shitty president that we're going to ensure that this is his last year in which he gets to make decisions.
It's in our primary, then I think everybody else should back out.
No, I don't hate the Republicans. I just believe you Republicans don't stand on anything. You don't stand on anything. You're not for the people. You're only for the rich. You only have tax cuts for the rich. You do nothing for the poor people. You don't stand on anything. You don't care about anything. There's not one thing that I've seen anybody put in the chat that cares about anything about regular, ordinary, individual people. Not one thing. Not one thing.
And give that person space. That's what I honestly believe. I don't.
Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so hurt. Y'all done hurt my feelings. Boo-hoo. You done hurt my feelings. Boo-hoo.
Think that we can afford to be selfish in this moment, especially like, what's the consolation prize for losing?
Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo.
I mean, what you get? Like, you get to say, one time I was a nominee. I mean, like, that's not how I roll, right? And I am a data-driven / vibes type person. So it's vibes that led me to deciding whether or not I should seek the data to confirm what I'm getting on vibes. And as someone who traveled the country, the entire country, on behalf of both President Biden as well as VP Harris when she was the Democratic nominee, as someone.
My thing is this. You all, why don't y'all just make up with Nick Fuentes? Why don't y'all make up with him? He's the same as MAGA. He's the same as MAGA. You might as well pull Nick Fuentes into there. Pull Nick Fuentes in there. You know, so he can alienate even more people. Because Nick Fuentes hate just like y'all hate. Y'all hate gays, you hate trans, you hate blacks, you hate brown, you hate immigrants, you hate immigration, you hate Muslims, you hate. That's all you Republicans do is hate, hate, hate. You might as well just get on Nick Fuentes because apparently he don't like Jewish people or whatever. I don't know that conflict of what's going on over there. Apparently he don't like them either. So you might as well just pull y'all into y'all world and y'all might as well just grab Nick Fuentes because y'all, that's all y'all do is hate. That's all we hear. That's the first thing y'all do when y'all come into a chat. I hate the gays. I hate people going in the bathroom, touching my kid. I hate the trans. I hate the browns. I hate immigration. I hate Mandami. I hate. That's all y'all got is hate. Y'all don't stand for nothing. That's why this party, your party, is losing because y'all don't stand for nothing. That's the problem. You hate. Black, brown, trans, gay. Y'all hate everything.
One who is still consistently asked to be everywhere, as I just did 4 events in one.
You says the Free Palestine group. Who's the Free Palestine group? Nick Fuentes? Nick Fuentes. Oh, okay, I got you.
One day in Michigan, and no, it's not a presidential cycle. As I am being asked to go any and everywhere, deep south and otherwise. And for those of you in Tennessee, make sure if you're anywhere near that special election that's coming up.
No, you all hate people. You all hate gays and trans and immigrants and illegals and Muslims and Mandani and brown people and black people. You all do that. That's the first thing y'all do when y'all walk into a chat is I hate X, Y, and Z. You don't never have no Democrat walk into no chat and say nothing crazy and wild like that. It's always on your side. It's always on you all side. Always.
At the very beginning of December, make sure you go out and vote. Early voting has already started. I am all over California, Pennsylvania, Virginia, you name it. I am all over. It is that energy and that belief that I can somehow make a difference when I show up that makes me believe if I can make a difference in other places, why is it that I would not be effective or making a difference in my home state of Texas? That is my belief. That's the vibes. But y'all know I like receipts.
Right.
Even if y'all don't like what the receipts say.
Yeah, they like.
So I've got to have data, and I have been very transparent. I plan to share with the other 2 candidates.
We don't care what he said. We understand Donald Trump just fine. We understand that he's who he is. Your president. That's your president. You all don't seem to understand that he has violated his oath of office more times than we can count. More times than we can count. Your president has violated his oath of office. That's what you MAGA people don't seem to get. He has violated his oath of office more times. He sells pardons for money. That alone is impeachable. He sells pardons for money. That makes him impeachable. I don't need to prove it. I don't even need. Shut your ass up. Shut your ass up. I just told you one way in which he's impeachable. It's an impeachable offense. Not when you pardon criminals, dipshit. His family weren't criminals, dipshit.
States that are running, if that data reveals.
You don't, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't talk to you MAGA idiots because you get on here and you lie. You get on here and lie and act like you don't understand what I'm talking about. You understand perfectly well what I'm talking about. Perfectly well what I'm talking about. Perfectly well what I'm talking about. Everything else but what I said. I said one damn sentence. I said your president sells pardons. I said 4 fucking words and you tards went everywhere else but where I said. That's why nobody can talk to you. Your president sells pardons. That's it. That's it. Your president sells pardons. That alone is an impeachable offense. That alone is an impeachable offense.
That say one of the other two candidates has the ability to expand the electorate in a way that I just don't. It is my intent to get behind that candidate and support them through the primary as well as the.
Yes, he's my president too. And I'm ashamed that he is my president because he sells pardons for profit. And I am ashamed that he does it. Unfortunately, not the MAGAs. The MAGA-tards aren't ashamed of a man who does that. But most of us are ashamed that he does that. He sells pardons for profit. That's wild. They say everything else. They address everything else except that. He's ashamed. Well, you know what? How about this one, Megatards? How about this one? He calls a female reporter Miss Piggy for all the world to see. How about that? How about that embarrassment? How about that embarrassment? Where did Biden call anybody Miss Piggy? Shut up, Miss Piggy. Yeah, it was hilarious. Hilarious. And I'm ashamed.
You are the worst. You're with Bloomberg, right? You are the worst. I don't know why they even have you. Quiet. Fake news. When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why leave
I don't
the
go to
Department of
war.
Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate.
What he did, well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing. You're fake news. But let me
Do it now.
You know, it's not the question that I mind. It's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched. Or somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. Oh, fake news, CNN?
Here, I'll hold it.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Wait till you hear this question.
Thank you, sir.
You should really say how great. Who are you with?
And the same to you, Mr. President.
No, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer you.
Official White House account to have it go out on that particular
Give me a
channel.
break. It was just somebody did it in fun. It's fine. Have to have a little fun, don't you? Who are you with?
Politico, Dasha Burns, sir.
Dasha Politico. Politico's gone bad. They've been so wrong about everything. Politico has been so wrong about everything. Let's get somebody else to ask some questions. You mind? Is that all right?
As a personal gift to you, why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
Only ABC. Well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet.
I would be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that he's my president. This is why we're embarrassed. More than half the country is embarrassed, and the goofy goofies is holding this up as the best president ever. Only the goofy goofies is holding this up as the best president ever. He's a punk and a thug. He's a punk and a thug. Goofy. And only the goofy would hold a person up like this as their, look who you hold. Wait a minute. Who would follow a clown down a rabbit hole? Nothing but other clowns. Nothing but other clowns. I can't.
But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that. Well, I haven't heard that. You're telling me. Who are you with?
I'm with NBC News, sir.
You all please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Don't nobody need to skip past CNN. This is on all the channels. Don't nobody need to skip past nothing. This is on all the channels. What do you mean? What do you mean skip? We don't even need to skip because it's on all the channels. Your president, this president is the most ignoramus that we have had in the presidency ever. And he'll never be as good as Obama.
Fake news. NBC. You're fake news. What a NBC's gone down the tubes along with most of the rest.
No, your president is the one who sells pardons. Your president, the impeachable president. And he might have done another impeachable phone call just like he did in 2019 with the Prince of Saudi Arabia. The dude that he's sitting right there, the murderous thug that he's sitting right next to. Chummy and chummy, right up to this murderous thug that he's sitting right next to. He'll never be as better as Obama. Never be as good as Obama. Ever.
I think the license should be taken away from ABC.
He can't even touch Obama's shoes.
ABC, because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that, because I think when you come in and when you're 97.
Never touch Obama. You can never touch Obama. Never. Ever.
7% negative to Trump. And
Medical professionals have warned for decades.
No, not you. You're CNN. You're fake news. Go ahead. Proud you, especially you, should be proud of those pilots, and you shouldn't be trying to demean them.
No, there's
those pilots flew at great risk of big.
Fragile masculinity at its best. Every woman needs to see this. Of course we need to. Montage of 19 clips showing Trump insulting, berating, and attacking female reporters just for doing their jobs. This is how he treats women. Of course this is how he treats women. He's a piece of trash. Of course he's a piece of trash.
Chance that they'd never come back home and see their husbands or their wives. Let me finish by saying, you are.
Because he's a president and he's always been a piece of trash. Always been a piece of trash. Always. Just always, and ain't never going to change. It just is what it is. Is what it is. Never going to be as good as Obama. Never going to be as good as Obama.
It is my intent that I will work my hind parts off to get.
Unfortunately for you, that's not the case, Samuel. You may want it to be, but that ain't how it is. That ain't how it is.
That person elected. I am here to tell you that we can't get the things that we want in this country unless we change the Senate. When we look at the fact that we're in this quote unquote arms race around redistricting, the House passed the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, as well as the Freedom to Vote Act. They passed it, but it went nowhere in the Senate. We also can get reproductive access passed out of the House. It still would not go anywhere in the Senate. We have to get more than what we have. We've got to flip it. And that is the only way that we're going to get anywhere. If we're going to get any reforms on this Supreme Court, whether it's just getting them a rule of ethics, which I think is beyond basic, since every other.
Don't be a hater. Why y'all be hating? Obama's approval rating when he left office was 60%. His approval rating is 60%. Your president's approval rating is 39%. 39%. That means he's trash. That means your president is trash. That's right. Read what? Read what? I don't need to be born again. I'm good. I'm good. Trump is just an extra shy human. Yeah, he's an extra shitty human. I know that's for fact. Obama was by far better president than Trump will ever be. Okay, by far. Trump's approval rate, Obama's approval rating 60%. So we know you're lying. So we know that's a lie.
Judge in this country, no matter the level they're on, has a rule of ethics that they have to abide by. We can't get anything unless we transform the Senate, which means we got to change the map. It can't just.
Christine Estrada, stop calling Michelle a racist. Don't do that. Ain't nobody talked about color in here. Ain't nobody talked about color in here except y'all in the chat. Y'all keep that color shit down.
Be woke. We know Cal.
Don't hate on Mike. Don't hate on Mike. Don't hate on Mike. Don't hate on Obama.
California's going to have 2 blue ones. Well, we know Maryland's going to. No, we've got to do what we did in Georgia. We got 2 blue ones down there.
So you must not have been paying attention, Samuel, when you heard your president call up all the states and tell them to make room for more Republicans so that they can win the Senate permanently. You must have not been listening. Goofy.
We can do it in Texas. I know the numbers. I know that is why they are constantly passing voter restrictions. That's constantly why they are going after people of color, and they are trying to minimize their voices because they know our power. I know we can get it done, but we've not done it yet.
Suck dick.
So the only thing that I can think of is what can engage people that have never wanted to be engaged before in the state of Texas. And if it's not me, that's cool. Like I'm good. I feel confident that Texas 30 wants me to return as their congresswoman. I'm not tripping. Like, actually, I may be tripping, but that's just about coming back to all the hell that we're dealing with. But like, no, I feel absolutely confident. I love my district and my district loves me. And so I'm good. Like, it's not like I have, and to be clear, you don't get paid no more money by going to the Senate. You just have a lot more responsibility. I go from 766,000 people that I'm responsible for to 30 million.
All these racist things. That's all you white people got is these racist things. She has to get back to the jungle. She must be dumb. Unfortunately, she's smarter than most of you in the chat. Unfortunately, she's smarter than most of you are in the chat. Don't be a hater. Don't hate. Congratulate. Don't hate. I hate when you be. I hate this white victim shit. These white men come over here and be victims. Just be hating on a black woman. This world was made for your dumb ass. This world was made for you white jackasses. Why you ain't way far ahead? Why you back here talking to the black folks that ain't as good as you? You back here crashing out on people that you don't even think worthy of your time. What the hell you doing with your time? You had 400 years to smoke our ass, and this black woman caught up to you. Shut your dumb ass up.
My pay doesn't change. I still have to come to DC. What changes is the map. I need y'all to understand that if we get a candidate that is actually formidable, do y'all understand that that changes everything for the Republicans? Do y'all understand that those 40 electoral votes that they count on to come out of Texas so that they can get the presidency, that's off the table? Do y'all get that? Like,
I mean, I just don't understand. They got this world was made for you white motherfuckers. This world was made for you, and you out here crashing out over a simple old low IQ black woman. You in the chat calling her all kinds of names, yet this world was made for you. I hate this white victim shit. They in here crying about a black woman. Just wild. Yeah, I hear myself. Hear yourself, jackass. You in here crashing out over a black woman. She ain't never gonna be smart as you, according to you. She's low IQ. She got hair and nails on, yet you over here crashing out. You done had 400 years to get ahead, to be a millionaire. Yet you got your motherfucking ass in this damn chat, being broke. Then you really need to shut your ass up. How the hell you a damn immigrant? How the hell your ass a damn minority? You in here hating on a black woman? What kind of shit? Boy, this world is messed up. This world is messed up.
Like this running around from this state to this state to this state, all these small states. If they don't get Texas, it doesn't matter. There's no math that maths for them. This is something that they realize, and they've been playing everybody else in this country, pretending as if we don't have it. When Donald Trump won the state of Texas before, he won by 5 points. 5. That's not overwhelming. When Beto lost to Cruz in a clapback year, which is what I'll call it, right? Because Donald Trump had been president. It was the midterm year. Again,
that's what I want.
Beto lost by less than 3 points. Beto lost by less than 300,000 votes in a state of 30 million. So for me, I think pretty much the generic Democrat can get pretty darn close if it's Ken Paxton.
Yes, he can.
I think so. The question is, what can that Democrat do to get the people that feel like no party represents them?
Right.
To get the people that feel like nobody speaks for me. I personally believe that that's the difference. So sorry I took so long. Got that out. I'm gonna get to your questions so y'all can get back to y'all's lives because it's late depending on where you are. We already at 10 o'clock on the East Coast.
No, I want Beto O'Rourke to win. I want Beto O'Rourke to run for president. If y'all know who Beto O'Rourke is in Texas, I want him to run for president again. And then we got to put him up. Cause that white boy got the right mix, the right look, the right sound, the right programs, the right he can speak Spanish. I think he got the right, look. And no black woman, no, we don't need no black woman to run. We don't need no black man to run. We need a white guy, plain Jane, knows how to speak to the people, progressive, unthreatening, married. I think we need Beto O'Rourke. Yeah, I am Samuelson. I am 5124. I'm dumb as a box of rocks. You right. You got it. You got it. You got it. White boy in the chat trying to crash out on a black woman. You got it, white boy. You got it.
And I know people gotta go to work. So let me see. All right. Will the Republicans do anything about Trump? They have been trying to censor people all week. Child, listen. I think we're at a record for censors. I really do. Like, you don't, I mean, y'all, somebody on the internet, y'all can go Google this and figure it out. But I don't know that we've ever had 3 censor motions in 1 week.
Y'all wild.
We usually don't have 3 in a year.
They
Like,
wild.
it was very rare.
You see that? How you come to a black woman chat and crash out? It took you what? 2 minutes? It took you 2 minutes to get in my chat and start crashing out? For real? Look at this person. Look at. What? I'm a demon. It took you a minute to come in the chat, and now you crashing out as per usual. Tony Tigress. Man, I must trigger you for real. For real. I ain't easy to manipulate. Y'all easy to manipulate. Damn. Crashing out.
Yeah, and that's where we are. Do I think that the Republicans are going to do anything about him?
No.
It just depends. I think the more that they see the writing on the walls, as we go through these special elections,
this is gonna take a
as we look at the numbers, I think November 4th was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons that some of them are like,
maybe
not so much, because baby, he on his way out, whether he like it or not. You get 2 terms maximum as president in these United States, okay? And some of them want to stick around for a while. Some of them want to have political careers. And it's going to crash and burn if your only answer is to do whatever Donald Trump told you to do.
Right.
It is. That's not sustainable, like, whatsoever. And I think some people are waking up to that.
Right.
But I think, the more that people show up to their town halls, the more that we show up at all these other elections and overperform, I think the more likely it is that we start to see some movement. From TikTok, when will the Epstein files come out? Okay, so y'all know I don't trust Pam, right? Y'all know I don't trust her, right? So I'm gonna just say this $1 million question. I will tell you that according to the bill that was filed and signed.
Yeah, sure, JD Vance is 48. Sure he is. As much as you all don't like gays and trans and Muslims and the immigrants and immigration, and as much as y'all don't like them people, you think they're gonna vote for JD Vance and he wear makeup? Yeah, dude wear makeup. I'm dead, yo. I'm dead, yo. He wear makeup. I'm dead. That's wild. As much as y'all hate the gays, the trans, the browns, the blacks, immigration, Muslims, as much as y'all hate all them people, y'all gonna vote for JD Vance who wear makeup. They know damn well they not voting for no damn JD Vance, who's the softest vice president ever. ever. Y'all, hey, I encourage you all. Look at no tie. Look at no tie. No tie HCM 2633. Look at the goofy. Did I say anything about race? I just want to know, did I say anything about race when it came to JD Vance? You see the goofies that projecting the goofy? Because I ain't said nothing about race. I ain't said jack shit. I said y'all can't stand gays, trans, browns, blacks, immigrants, immigration, Muslims, Mandani. You hate all of that. But yet you're going to vote for JD Vance. Now, where in that whole scenario that I'm talking about Did I say anything about race? That's what we got with the mega goofy goofies. The projection is real because I just got to tap one word. I got to tap one word in their little goofy logic, and it'll set off a whole nother chain reaction. I ain't said nothing about race at all. And they talking about, oh, here you go with race again. Lord have mercy. See, that's all you got to do is touch one little word, and then they lose their mind. One little word.
Sign into law. They're supposed to release it within 30 days.
What word did I say, Mike? What word did I say? Please put it out there. What did I say? What color did I say? I want to know. What did I say? When we were talking about JD Vance, what did I say about race? Please put it in the chat. I'd love to know.
Just want to remind y'all that oversight has had outstanding subpoenas to the DOJ, and thanks to the Epstein estate, we getting stuff. That's all I gotta say. So, and Pam she was stuttering the other day.
No, they said I mentioned race. I don't recall mentioning race at all. Why would I need to mention race when it comes to JD Vance? I said he wears makeup.
At a press conference, I think it was yesterday. She was like, right. So I fully anticipate she's going to say we've got ongoing investigations, even though she had previously announced that there was nothing to investigate.
That's what you hate. What does that have to do with I don't like white people or this is a race thing? You all don't like Mexicans. I said brown people. You don't like black people. I said black people. You don't like Muslims. You don't like gays. You don't like trans. Y'all don't like them. What does that have to do with race? It's the truth, ain't it? It's the truth, ain't it? Every time you all run into the chat, the first thing you all say is, I don't like them people watching me in the bathroom. I don't want nobody in the bathroom. I don't want them gay people around me. I don't want them illegal people here. I don't want them illegal aliens here. I don't like Mandami. He's a communist. He's a Muslim. That's all you hear. And then every last one of them. No, we don't hate nobody. Yeah, you do. Because if you don't like trans, you don't like gays, you don't like immigrants, you don't like the brown people, you don't like the black people, you don't like Mandami, you don't like communists, you don't like Muslims, that means that's all you do is hate. You see the disconnect I got to deal with? Why y'all can't figure out the shit that's on your own plate? I don't understand. Good for you, Mikey. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna shit and take a crap and a nap, and I'm gonna still not give a shit about whether you like me or not. Give a fuck whether you like me or not. But then one thing you got to face is the fact that you can't stand gays. You Republican MAGA people. You don't like gays. You don't like trans. You don't like immigration. You don't like illegals. You don't like Muslims. You don't like communists. Don't like brown people. Don't like black people. All of that. That's something that y'all have to face. You never have a Democrat come in nowhere and say nothing like they don't like X, Y, and Z. It's always you Republicans. Always you MAGA. That's something y'all got to face. I ain't bring up race at all. We would never have to bring up race at all. Y'all the one bring that shit up. Y'all always bring that shit up. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. We have content every day. Every day we like to have these subjects, talk about these subjects, do what we got to do. Dems hate a lot of people, but we don't run into chats and say we hate. You all come in the chats and say that. You're always coming in the chats saying those things. My heart is not full of the Holy Spirit. Look at here.
Investigate, but now she's like, well, we've got new information from the estate. And it's like, well, girl, if y'all were doing your jobs and you were doing the investigatory work, then y'all would have had this too, right? Or am I wrong? Maybe Pam don't know nothing about trying cases. Again, she about to lose that Comey case. Hell, they lost the sandwich case, y'all. They lost the sandwich assault case. The fact that they brought a sandwich assault case is just it.
They brought a case. They brought a case against a man who threw a sub sandwich at a policeman. And they brought a case against the man. That's wild, y'all. That's wild, y'all. That's wild. I don't even understand. It's like they don't even understand. I don't recall me disrespecting anybody. I ain't did no rant. I'm not trying to do a rant. I'm just telling you all how you come into the chat. You came into the chat, saw Jasmine Crockett, and people started calling her dumb. She's stupid. She don't know what she talking about. X, Y, and Z. We the only thing we can think of is when you walk in the chat and say something like that, is that you can't stand a woman. You don't know. And the first thing I said to y'all was what? I said, beat the argument. Don't talk about the woman. Beat the argument. This is what I said to you. Okay? Like, what do y'all want us to do? Y'all can't do what you want to do. You're not going to do what you want to do and say what you want to say over here, and then I don't actually say anything back to you. That's wild to me. That's wild. I don't understand what's wrong with you all. But yet you over here sniffing up, you on my bumper.
Okay, I'm done with that part. Let me move to the next question. From IG, can you run again in your current district? Yes. I think I don't know if there's more to this question. So let me expound just to make sure that I'm actually
What? Hey, Joe Novak, I don't even understand. I don't even understand why in the world would paycheck to paycheck people vote for a 79-year-old billionaire like Trump. They voted for higher prices and less government services. What dumb fucks. I don't know what happened, Joe. You got to ask the people in the chat. Why would you even vote for that man? I don't even know.
actually answering your question. So a couple of things. Filing deadline in Texas is going to be December 8th. We have the earliest primary. I think it's Texas and Arkansas only. Will be the first Tuesday in March. We'll start early voting February. Mail-in ballots will go out in January. And so if you're in Texas, for sure, make sure you do your ballot by mail application on January 1. You got to do it all the time. They making y'all read again obstacles, okay? Because if you had an excuse because you were disabled last year, you probably got the same anyway. Whole other issue, but make sure
that ain't the reason. Christo China, that ain't the reason. I know what the reason is. I'm gonna ask it again. Why would people follow a clown down the rabbit hole? A clown with a 70 IQ. Why would clowns follow? Why would anybody follow a clown down the rabbit hole? I just don't understand. Because they would have to be tards too. Because I haven't seen one person who put in the chat what this big beautiful bill has done for them when they make between $30,000 and $150,000. I haven't seen one person in the chat who put anything worth talking about in the chat. Now, don't put in the chat that taxes on tips and taxes on overtime, because most of you guys, that belongs with people who file, what the hell is it called? I forgot what it's called. They filed itemized deductions. Most of you tards file standard deductions. That overtime on tips And that tips and that overtime, that belongs on the itemized deduction taxes. So it basically doesn't apply to most of y'all. Listen what it say. Listen what it say, no tire. That no taxes on tips and that no tax on overtime doesn't apply to most people because A, most people don't work for tips, and B, it's an itemized deduction, and most people don't do itemized tax returns. They do standard tax returns. Okay? So let's get that out of the way. Yes. And he's my president, and I'm ashamed that he's my president. I'm ashamed that I'm even associated with people who would have voted for this human being.
January 1, you can go online. You should be able to go to the Secretary of State's website, or you can go to your county, whoever handles your elections in your county, because it may be different depending on your county. But go to your elections administrator for your county, and you can download the form, and you can mail that form in. I believe you actually have the option of.
You said why do you not scream out about the Muslim Sahara slave trade? Dude, do you know them people come get you and they do beheadings? You know them people do beheadings, right? And just for the goofy goofies, I travel. So when I travel, I don't want to get kidnapped. I don't want to be took. You do know them people behead people, right? So, and they kidnap people, right? So no, I don't talk about that kind of stuff.
Faxing it in too. But I don't trust a lot of these people. So I say mail it in and make sure you request a return receipt so that there's no questions about whether or not you sent it in. But yeah, do your ballot by mail applications. So there's an interesting law that says you can run for the U.S. Senate as well as president at the same time on the same ballot. I am not able to run for the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate at the same time. So if I run for the U.S. Senate, then that means that it's all or nothing. I either come back to D.C. as a U.S. Senator or I'm not back in D.C. That's what that would mean. And I think that that's probably the hardest part for my district. I was in a similar situation when I went from the state house to the U.S. House because I was in a 6-way race to get to the Texas House. I made it in, and then I had to jump into a 10-way race. And so there definitely were constituents that were very concerned because they really did like me as their state representative, but they really did want me as like their U.S. representative, but they were concerned. But we made it through. But it is one of the reasons that I'm being highly analytical on.
Most of these people are not qualified, so it doesn't really matter. She's qualified enough to run for Senate, and she's been in the House, so she's qualified just fine.
This run, as well as understanding what it would take, like what the entire ecosystem needs to look like. So thinking through not only building a team for myself, but like what else needs to be going on in general, right? Like how much voter registration do we need to do? And like what organizations do that? And like that kind of stuff. So like just thinking through all the things. I will tell you that one of the things that I find interesting, and we're going to see in the polling, because we're going to test some of this. We literally are testing the fact that the president calls me low IQ and trying to see how that hits people. I know y'all like, what? Yeah, because he says it over and over and over. So I don't know if he...
Well, he says it over and over, and then you got goofies, specifically some goofies in the chat, who say that you low IQ, even though you have a high IQ, even though you're a lawyer and all that good stuff. You still have goofies who repeat the same garbage that Trump. But then don't even take that into consideration because they believe everything you say. So
He has polling that says that if he calls me that
the civil rights lawyer, no Tai. She was a civil rights lawyer. She was a civil rights lawyer who took cases based on that. What do you mean? What did she do in her district? She was a civil rights attorney. That's what she did in her district.
as is a MAGA, or if it makes conservatives as a whole believe that I'm uneducated. It's one of those things that honestly, I do feel like they feel a little bit inferior sometimes because I display my legal prowess a lot of times in committee. And it is threatening for so many of them, which is why it's like, they all like, it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. And it's like, okay, first of all, I named a whole bunch of people and NRCC ain't came out yet and said nothing, but I'm just saying, but that's a whole other issue. So, again, I've got to think long and hard because I can tell you for sure.
Because he represents what they like. He represents the hate that they like. They hate gays, they hate trans, they hate brown, they hate black, they hate Muslim, they hate Mandami, they hate immigrants, they hate illegal immigrant, they hate all of that. It's all about hate. It ain't never about for something. It's always against something. That's what I don't like about the MAGA movement. It's never about going forward and doing something. It's always about hating something, always being against something.
My district doesn't want to lose me. And frankly, there are a lot of people out of my district that are scared of losing my voice in this moment. So we have to believe that we have a real path to victory. And a victory in Texas, again, is bigger than Texas. It means that we've changed not only the landscape for
Natasha, you really look. I'm not gonna call you a name, but you know better. No Tai, you know better. You know better. Stop saying foolish stuff. You know better. You already know that he's in the files. Stop it. You already know he's in the files. Stop doing that. You're not helping your president at all when you sit here and deny stuff like that. And you only make him look even more foolish when he have goofy people going around saying, he's not in the file. He's not in the file. He's not in. Who the fuck is he hiding the files from? I mean, really? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Why y'all sound goofy when y'all say good luck with finding him in the files? He's in the files, dude. He's in the emails. So he's in the files. Come on. Y'all need to get into the game. This goofy shit about good luck with finding him in the files. We ain't got a problem. He's going to be in the files. Didn't I just tell you all at the beginning of the evening that the files were under investigation? That's why they're talking about Trump putting them under investigation now. Because he might do that. They were under investigation when Obama and Biden. No, I don't think Obama looked for him. I'm saying under Biden, they were under investigation. Stop it. Because whenever you say, oh, good luck finding us Trump in the file, we don't have to look that far. We know he's in the files. Only people like you, goofies, think you're going to gaslight the rest of us. You can't gaslight the rest of us. We know he's good. He was good friends with Epstein. We know that. Stop saying good luck with finding it in the file. He's in the files. Jesus.
For the Senate, but we've changed the landscape for the country. I mean, it's huge. Winning anywhere is obviously a big deal, but winning in Texas, yeah, it's a big thing. Okay, let me move on. From TikTok, from TikTok. Do you think the Epstein files will be tampered with? All right, so I'm not a believer in the keepers of the files right now. I'm not. I don't believe in them. I will tell you that there are those. I've never worked at the DOJ. I've always been on the defense side. So I don't know like their mechanisms from an internal perspective. There are people that are trying to convince me that have worked within the DOJ that there are very limited opportunities or options to destroy things now. I also know that we are living in some really different times. And I also know that we had this bootleg.
I don't know why. Why would anybody listen to you? Yeah, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
Computer.
The whole point is we may have the numbers to impeach him. If the Republican, if the sound becomes loud enough, they will have enough to impeach him. If the Republicans start defecting for real, they will have enough to impeach him. You ain't found no pictures of Hakeem. You ain't found no pictures of Hakeem or Jeffrey nowhere. Stop it.
Tyrant.
It didn't work before. That's not the point. The point is, it's different than before. It's way different. He's dragging all of the Republicans down. He's dragging all of the Republicans down. That's wild. Yeah, that could be the case. We never know, Joe Novak. We never know. They done manufactured pictures of Hakeem and Epstein. Lord have mercy.
It was playing around with all our stuff. So, I don't know. I mean, once Elon started touching stuff, I just don't know. That is, I'm gonna say I don't know. I will say that people are trying to convince me that, what's there will be there. That's my answer.
That's true.
And from Instagram, how do you protect your peace and stay encouraged? Oh, this is a very good question. Thank you, whoever asked that. I appreciate that.
Right.
People don't ask about that, and I get it, and it's okay, because I signed up for this insane job, and I am insanely blessed. Let me be clear, because I do feel like it is a privilege to represent people and have their confidence. But I go through my days. Like I'm being completely honest. I go through my days, and I think it's one of those reasons that I'm pretty fearless about the U.S. Senate. It's because I truly believe that what God has for me, it is for me. And if it's his will that I will win, obviously I got to do the work, but I believe that I will. I protect my peace by knowing that
so did Ghislaine Maxwell, Master Link. So did Ghislaine Maxwell. And Ghislaine Maxwell sitting in a prison with a dog. She has access to the internet all day, can go exercise when she wants to, can eat what she wants to, orders dinner for her and her guest when she wants to. All of those perks, all of those nice perks. And she said Trump never did anything wrong. Why would she have all these perks if she didn't do anything wrong? How could she have all of those perks if she didn't do anything wrong? She said he didn't do anything wrong either. Yet and still she got perks that no other prisoner would have. Why is that? I wonder.
Literally, I am not supposed to be here. When you look at who it is that gets into the seats and the spaces that I'm currently in.
That's why he wanted her silenced. He needs her to be silent. Okay? He needs her to be silent. So we understand that he's in the files. It just is what it is. We won't believe anything else until we see him.
It's not the girl who.
And I hope it's an early Christmas present. That's what I hope. I hope. Okay.
Whose parents weren't politicos or super rich or whatever. It is people who had political families and dynasties, or people that had a lot of money, and or people that worked and interned on the Hill and all that kind of stuff. I didn't do any of it. I had not done any of it at all. So I feel like I am only here by God's grace, and because literally this is the purpose that he has on my life. And when I tell you, it is so very hard. You know, I am more protective and more concerned about people around me than I am myself. I'm gonna be honest. So
is that a lie, or is that just your thought? So who else solicited money from Epstein, Master Link? Who else? Who else solicited money? Was it just Hakeem Jeffries? Was it somebody else? Who else solicited money?
So my staff is young. They are. Most staffers on the Hill are. And I love them like they're my family. Like, I mean, in private settings, I call them my kids, right? Because
wait a minute, hold on. When did she get fired? Tony Tigers, this is what I want to know. When did this lady get fired? This lady got fired? Why you in here spreading rumors and lies already? When did this lady get fired? Did this lady get fired? This lady right here? I know people who are not striving for the truth are dangerous. Those people are dangerous. This wild. This is dangerous. Yes. You got people in the chat making false accusations. She lost her district. Where? What are you talking about?
If I had kids, a number of them are young enough to where I could be their mother. But the point is, I look at them and I love them and I want to protect them. And so, you know, when they came and worked, decided that they would work in our office, they did that because they believed in something bigger and greater than them. And they wanted to be of service. And they're not out front. They are not the face of this. For me, it's like, all right, you know, I got to take whatever hits I take. But today was a bit gut-wrenching for me because I don't ever want my kids to be subjected to the type of like hate that physically showed up today at our office. That's what like pisses me off. Because they didn't sign up for that. They just signed up to do the work of the people in Texas 30, whether it's filing legislation, handling cases, or whether it is answering phones, right? So, or doing comms, or whatever it is that they all do. So, so I typically get my recharge really from the people. I do a lot on the road, as Faux News was reporting. They could just Google Jasmine Crockett, LA, and they'll find out I was working on Prop 50 so that people could lose their seats, but a whole other issue. So when I go on the road though, and I'll give you one example so that, you know, I'm not on live forever because my staff talks about me when I do these like long lives. I went to Chicago and
okay. When Texas redistricting goes into effect, yeah, that's a temporary stay. So you never know what's going on with that. So therefore, she hasn't lost her seat as of yet. So don't worry about it until it happens. And we won't know until next year sometime. So she ain't lost her seat yet. And it has nothing to do with her mouth. It has to do with the fact that they wanted more Republican seats. But that makes no difference, seeing as how California overrun them with the seats that they're going to make up. So California is going to make up even more seats. So what they're doing makes no difference. And it ain't going to make no difference no way, because there's going to be a blue wave and the Republicans are going to lose anyway. So
we were having the field hearing, the ICE field hearing. We have another ICE field hearing coming up in LA. So I'll be at that. But we have this field hearing, and when I go, especially to like a big city like Chicago, there's usually like a pileup of requests in the larger cities. And so what my like scheduling team does is they're like, all right, so you're going for this, but you also have already had this request, that request, this request, whatever. So I had a request to speak at a church. And I thought I was doing like a 10.
Because of the court ruling 2021, the 2021 map may still be used for the 2026 election. So since it's only a temporary say, the final outcome is still pending for that. So there's no definitive take effect date. So you never know when that map is going to take effect. The judge may rule that it's legal, but it can't take effect until 2028. It may be even like that. So you never know when the judge's going to let them take effect.
Town hall situation or whatever. Anyway, it was all me, just me. They were like, come whatever day you want to. And it was amazing. They packed this church out. There was not any seats anywhere. I mean, the balcony was packed, all the pews in front of me, beside me, as well as the overflow.
Let's hope everybody have been hitting that like button, the like button, subscribe button, care button. Please hit the like, share, subscribe. Please and thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. Come on now. We know what's going on. Come on, come on, come on.
And the preacher at that church, you know, told me, he was like, people were lined up for hours before. It was wrapped around the building. But what was most impactful to me was afterwards, I had an opportunity to speak to a couple of people that were there that are really close friends of the church.
No, they're just carving. They're just getting rid of the black district. They're just getting rid of the Mexican and the black districts. That's all. They're just pulling it in so it'd be. But see, here's gonna be the funny part. When they run black candidates, they gonna lose. That's wild.
And one was a 15-year-old girl who couldn't stop crying. And she literally just kind of fell into my arms. And her dad was standing there and he was like beaming with pride. And I was like, it's okay. I'm here. I'm real. Like, talk to me. Like, what's up? And she was just like, I can't believe I'm meeting you. And I was like, I'm just an everyday person. But her dad is a civil rights lawyer. And he was like, I never imagined that it would be a politician that would influence my daughter to want to follow in her footsteps as an attorney, right? But this 15-year-old girl who cannot vote, who somehow I am on her radar, she lives in Chicago, Illinois, was so moved. It's those moments that I hold on to. Or when I'm on the flights and I have flight attendants, I have all these notes. I'm trying to get my like staff to like, I don't know, put it all together so that we can keep it. But like, they'll write me notes and it'll say like, thank you for what you do. We appreciate you. We love you, that kind of stuff. And so when I get outside of the bubble of DC, which can really be a drag, when I get to the real people, like when I go to Houston, because I'll be headed to Houston and I'll be doing an event on Saturday if you're in Houston, Texas. I'm gonna do an event with Christian Menifee because we've got to get him to Congress, CD 18. So we're gonna do a town hall. So you can sign up, get that information. It's somewhere on my profile as well. And then I am gonna do something for the Texas Democratic Party as well. I'm gonna do their gala. So the thing is, when I get around the people and people not only tell me, but show me that what I'm doing is not falling on deaf ears, that's when I am reaffirmed. But when I am in DC, I'm just like, what's the point? Sometimes it can get really bad. So I'll say, final point on this is that my very close friends, my day ones, as I call them, they are always looking out for me. Them and I will say my praying circle. For any of y'all who did not know, my pastor is Pastor Freddie Haynes, who is always on call for me. God bless him, having to be my pastor.
Yeah, they are looking to be on a depression They are definitely going to be on that It's going to be 48% of Project 2020 has already been implemented. And the whole point is we won't be able to, they won't get another piece of legislation through because the Republicans didn't care about any legislation. They don't care about any legislation. They care about the tax cuts for the rich. That was the whole point of the tax cuts for the rich. That's it. They only concerned themselves about the tax cuts. They didn't care about what was happening with the people or any kind of tax cut. Because the first thing they holler about, oh, wait a minute, hold up. We got tax cuts. Ain't no tax cuts. This president didn't give none of y'all, they didn't give us no tax cuts. He talking about taxes on tips. He's talking about taxes on overtime. No tax on overtime. That has nothing to do with regular, everyday, ordinary Americans. The tax on tips and the no overtime. It has nothing to do with everyday Americans, because most people don't file the way that it would matter. Most people wouldn't file that way. So all of these poor people in these red states helped to get the Republicans into office and then didn't get anything for it and are not getting anything for it. They're not getting anything for it. Okay. No, I have no idea. I don't know anything about working for tips. That's not the point. The point is taxes on tips and no taxes on overtime are for people who itemize deduct. You all know what itemized deduct means? It's for people who itemize deduct on their taxes. Most of y'all don't itemize deduct. Most of y'all take the standard deduct. So therefore, no taxes on tips and the tax on the overtime does not apply to you. I can't with y'all. I can't with y'all. It is what it is. I can't with y'all. So the whole point is nobody has been able to say what he has done for that big, beautiful bill for anybody that makes under 150K. Okay. Nobody. And that's the whole point. The whole point is, what did you vote for? If you voted for Donald Trump because of his personality, then you're an idiot. Because you voted just because you liked somebody's personality. You voted for him. Now you're losing Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps. You're losing everything. And then you didn't get anything. Another angry black man going off on Trump. What angry black man is going off on Trump? Nobody's going off on Trump. Not over here. I didn't hear anybody in the chat going off on Trump. Nobody can put any. Your tips go into your hourly pay total amount. Most people don't work for tips. So therefore it already takes you out of the game. It already takes you out of the game because most of us don't work for tips. That already takes you out of the game. And then when you do get to filing your taxes, it's an itemized thing too. And most people don't even put their tips on their tax too. So you cut all of that out. Then when you file for no overtime, tax on overtime, that's an itemized deduction. It's not a standard deduction. So that cuts the next group of people out. I mean, some of y'all need to really do research before you get to talking. You really need to do research. Okay, you really? Yeah, we did. We got the fact that the American public blames you Republicans. We did get that. If we didn't get nothing else, we got that. That's for sure. In all the polling, we got that for sure. All of that. And then obviously y'all think that's a flex. I don't get it, but I don't get it. I don't get it. It's all a matter of trying to do to get the best of the Democrats. You can't never get the best of us because we're better. Our party is better. It just is what it is. He didn't do anything. He didn't do anything for your regular, ordinary 30,000 to 150,000. He didn't do anything for anybody in between that whole thing. And that's the bulk of the people who voted for him was those people, and they didn't get jack shit. Okay, they didn't do jack shit except whatever. Yeah, y'all are better liars. That's for sure. That's for damn sure. Y'all, that is for damn sure. Your president gaslight. See, this is how good the president is. The president lied to everybody, including the people that supports him and gives him money. The people he lied to the most is the people he gave money. He told the people that gave him the most money, I'm gonna put America first. Where they at? All the way back in the train, all the way back in the back of the town car, back of the train. All the way to the back. And they red states, which means they finna go bankrupt. EBT war. EBT people shouldn't be mad. Them EBT people should be straight. They getting all the food they can. Shit, I don't know why they would be mad. Shit, that's the red state. Red state people, man. You motherfuckers who live in the red state should be mad. Shit, I ain't mad. Shit, I'm straight. I don't know about you poor folks. I'm straight. And the people who get the food stamp, they straight too, because they got their food stamp. My understanding is they got their food stamps on the 17th, whenever that was. So they good. They good. Shit. They good. The Dems got caught defrauding taxpayers for trillions every year through SAID. Yeah, okay. Another freaking person that's projecting. Ain't no proof, just talking. The Democrats got caught defrauding the taxpayers for trillions of dollars every year through U.S. aid. Wow. No thought, just talking. Knowing full well somebody on their side got caught, but they gonna put it on our side. You all hit the like and share and subscribe, please, and thank you. I appreciate the engagement. I appreciate the engagement. When your whole personality is hating on the president, here's the thing, CJM, I don't hate your president. I just think he's incompetent. I think he needs to be impeached. And I think he is underwhelming as a human being. That's all. Underwhelming as a human being and as a president. And he's done so many things. It's hard to focus on what would make him a bad president. He's done so many things that it's very easy to choose from. I don't even know where to start. Oh, I'm sorry. I did start. I said the president sells pardons. I said that, and the tards in the chat went nuts. The MAGA people in the chat went bazonkers. I said your president sells pardons. Democratic agenda, but no real Democrat, right? I got you, Tony. You one of those cuckoo birds. Go on ahead. Work it out. You one of the cuckoo birds. You all please hit the like, share, and subscribe. Hey, Sassy Mo, thank you very much. Jess, thank you very much. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate you. Please hit that like and share and subscribe. We are trying to get to 4,000. It would be amazing, amazing, amazing if we could hit that number by Monday or Tuesday. That would be matter. What do you think does not matter? How long have you complained about him and not? How long have you complained about him and nothing has changed for your situation? If you live in the U.S., he's your president. I know whose president he is. He still makes me ashamed to even call him my president. He still does things that people should be ashamed of to call himself our president. He don't even have enough shame to be ashamed. That's the problem. He doesn't have any kind of self-reflection. Okay? He has no kind of self-reflection. Okay? That's the point. He has no kind of self-reflection of what he is. Okay? Some people, it is what it is. No, CJM, don't come over here with that. You don't have any proof. We do know your president hung out with pedos. We do know that. Don't be upset. Don't be upset. We do know your president hung out with pedos. We do know that. Don't pull none of our people into it. Don't pull nobody in. Don't pull none of our people into it. Talk about your people, okay? Talk about your people. And he ain't never gonna be able to touch Obama. So y'all can just skip that. But anyway, I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all. We will get out of here and do our thing. I will be back tomorrow. It won't be tomorrow evening. It'll probably be tomorrow sometime in the afternoon. We will have other discussions to talk about. I'm surprised that this president hasn't. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. There was some supposed news. There was some protest in New York, and I heard that there was more of a fight in Dearborn, Nebraska. More of a fight. Have to look it up. Have to figure it out. We are the laughing stock on the world stage. Of course we are, Joe Novak. Of course we are. Of course we are. But this is the lot that we have. Hide and what? We're just waiting for the files to come out, and then we can understand what's going on. Redacted files, it doesn't matter. As long as we get the files, we'll see. This president is all over the file. And it is what it is. We know he's all over the files. It will be what it is. Dearborn, Michigan, I heard it was more stuff that happened in Dearborn. Let's see what's going on there tomorrow and see if we have some goofiness going on. So please hit the like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. We appreciate you. And we will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Sassy. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, all the moderators. Please and thank you. I appreciate you all for coming out. Yeah, well, I mean, they love him. He is their president. He did turn his back on him because he hasn't put America first. That's for sure. They closed a huge meat packing plant in Nebraska. Wow. That's wow. Oh wow. We gotta find out what the fallout is tomorrow. Let's find out what the fallout is tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow. I appreciate all of you guys. You know I appreciate all of you guys. I definitely do appreciate y'all. Hit the like, the share, the subscribe, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.